Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How's everything good?
Good, good. Yourself?
Good, good.
How's that cleanup? How's that cleanup?
It was good. It's good to, detour from typical politics and, do a nice beach cleanup.
Yeah,
So,
I've done that with the kids on. They used to be in the Sea Scouts.
okay,
And
yeah.
we used to do that with kayaks, go out to little islands.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it was fun. I liked
it's
it.
a good thing.
I got a good tan. I got some vitamin D, which you don't get in the office.
No.
In the office all day, you don't get that.
Nice.
Tom is supposed to be on Zoom, apparently.
Yeah, at 5:30, I think he was coming
Yeah.
on.
Starts at 5 or 5:30?
He's on the floor. He called me. Holy cow.
Yeah, because they're in session right now on the floor. They took
Yeah.
a recess for like 30 minutes, and they're going back at 5, so that's probably why he can be here at 5.
We need bigger screens.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Can't see anything. Oh, man. How long do you think the meeting's going to last? Like an hour, hour and a half roughly? Because I have another one at 7.
This is going to go on for 2 hours.
Okay.
So it was from 6 to 7, and then there was so many people that wanted to talk. I asked to move it, get it longer, because usually we're the second committee, so we can go later
Yeah.
to whenever. But for whatever reason, they flip-flopped us, and there's another committee after us, so they moved it earlier till 5
Got
to
it,
7.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got it. All right.
You're working from home too? You're working from home?
Yeah.
I send an email. Yes.
You good? How are you?
I'm doing great. How's everything?
You losing your voice again?
It's allergy season. You remember?
Yes, I'm the same.
I have no. Yeah,
Zyrtec.
Zyrtec knocks me out.
Oh, really?
Like it knocked me out.
That's the only one
It's like
for
I've
me.
had a full bottle of wine. Knocks me out.
Well, that's not a bad thing, though.
No, it is when you're driving and you
But,
have to function, and it lasts like 24 hours. It's cheaper. Why is it cheaper? Yeah, it's cheaper. Per pill price. Yes. But yes, it does.
Wow. How are you?
All good? Hanging in there?
Yeah, it's trying to.
I know, fighting for the fight, right?
It's getting tiring. It's getting tired.
Thank you for not doing it.
I'm not done yet. I can't.
No, we're not getting there. Well done fighting. In
It's
all aspects.
yes,
Well done fighting.
yes.
No matter what.
I can't. Yes. was good. All right.
Ready, just remember to press the microphone once you're speaking.
Wanted to- Is this working?
Is our secretary here?
Is it working? Test? There we go. All right, now we're going. Welcome. Welcome, everybody.
Call our meeting to order.
It's going to be a pretty action-packed evening, apparently. This is the Blasting Advisory Meeting for 4/29/2021. And we'll do a call to order. And we'll start with a roll call. Clarissa, you like to take a roll call?
Sure. Yvonne Moreno, absent. Joana Hurtado. I saw her on Zoom. Joanna, are you there? All right. Magali Rubio? Absent. Rudy Blanco?
Here.
Raymond Garcia?
I think I saw him with, are the mics working on the Zoom call?
Ray, can you hear us?
Yeah.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Ariel, can you check the sound, please? Esther Colon?
Present.
Miguel Martinez?
Present.
Angelo Cuadra? Rafael de la Vega? Absent. Gerlin Luli Escar?
Present.
I sort of heard her. Ariel, is the volume turned up?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but very, very, very low.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Alejandro Sanchez? Absent. Glenn Drazuecki? I always butcher the name. Dr. Juan Barek? Stephen Herzberg.
Present.
And let's try again. Raymond Garcia?
Present. Here. He's present, right?
And Joana Hurtado?
Here.
I can't hear the people in there. I know, but I can't. Mr. Chair, you have quorum.
Thank you. All right. Guess we'll get into, we have public comments. You can't hear? Can you hear me? Now I can hear me.
Yeah, Chairman Martinez, this is Luis Palazzo. I'm the Vice Mayor. I'm not going to be adding any public comments, but just for everybody's sake, the people on the Zoom call can hear everybody clearly. It just appears that you can't hear what we're saying in the chambers.
I'm sorry, that you can hear, you cannot hear.
¿Cuándo vas a terminar?
I didn't hear that.
Vice Mayor, can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you, but you cannot hear us. And everybody on the Zoom call can hear each other, but you cannot hear us in chambers.
We hear you in the chamber. Raymond, can you do a sound check?
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
All right,
Can you hear
it
me?
seems to be working now. Thank you.
Now we can.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. All right, do we have public comments now? You guys want to come up? We have,
So I'll go ahead and break the ice for public comments. Manny Sid, the mayor of the town of Miami Lakes. First and foremost, thank you guys for hosting this meeting and coordinating it as volunteers. went to Tallahassee a couple weeks ago, met with the town manager, and I met with several of the folks up there. I'll start with the positive. The positive that I saw, and I have to thank Representative Fabricio, Rizzo, for really working on the House side, is that for the first time in a long time, I can tell you everybody is well educated on the issue. Leadership in the House, folks from different parts of the state are really coming up to speed with the different facets of this issue where before I could tell you I wasn't really going on. So that was, I could tell you, the one positive takeaway that I got from my trip to Tallahassee was that people are becoming better educated as to what is happening here in our community, the destruction of our homes. The negative part about it is that the bill did not receive a committee hearing. I could tell you Representative Fabricio is going to continue filing it next year. I do hope that the chairs of both the House and the Senate side move it forward, because I think it's incredibly important specifically to get that first hearing, so you get the bill analysis, you get the House and Senate staff, and especially the attorneys working on it, so it'll give us an opportunity to really dig deep to take care of this. So positive and negative. Obviously, the major negative is it didn't move. On the other side, I do have to thank Chair Martinez for looking outside the box. Him and I had a conversation the other day. It's like, hey, let's look at those U.S. Army Corps of Engineer permits. Let's see if there's another avenue that we can take this. So I thank the chair for looking at that. We have sent a letter to the Biden administration. We're working the phones to see if we can get a meeting with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, which I think would be a great step forward. That it's not unique to our community. There are many other areas around the nation. I think there's one in New Orleans that they're petitioning the U.S. Army Corps. There was one that 5,000 residents sent letters, and now they're re-examining those permits. So I think there's different avenues. But I just want to thank the chair and you all for looking outside the box for different levels of solution. And again, while I am extremely disappointed, frustrated, angry that the bill did not move, the one positive takeaway is that everybody that's in leadership, everybody's in the House, understood the issue, knows what's going on, and I am optimistic that I hope that there is movement on this in the legislature upcoming. But I will say this, even though a lot of those House members knew about it, there were still people that didn't know. I have a good friend of mine who's a state rep from other parts of the state of Florida. He's a member of the minority party, and he talked to me about it. He goes, look, I want to be better educated on this, and I think one positive thing that Representative Fabricio is going to do is bring a lot of those people to the district, right? The people that don't know these issues is that you bring them here and they can see firsthand your homes, they can see what's going on, and I think that's extremely powerful. When I was an aide in the Florida legislature, we did that. We brought members to the district constantly to show them issues that were important to us and specifically to our constituents. So I think if you all can partner with Representative Fabricio to do that, I think it'll be extremely powerful, especially those chairs of the committees, the members of those committees that oversee rock mining. Show them people's homes. I mean, go inside people's homes, show them what's going on, and I think better. But I do have to thank the representative for really moving the ball forward. Again, I'm disappointed, but I see at least there's potential to move, and I just wanted to thank the chair for working with me to find other avenues to move forward, because I think the federal level is one that has never been explored, and I think it's worth exploring. So, you guys, whatever the committee recommends tonight is, I'm 100% going to be, obviously with the direction of the rest of the council, implementing, and I just appreciate all the work that you guys put in on this most important issue that is impacting our quality of life every single day. So, thank you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, do you want to go on?
Claudia, you may use the podium.
You grab a mic.
Do I have to still state my name and go through that whole process?
Sure.
All right. Claudia Lucis, 8220 Menteith Terrace, Miami Lakes. Monday's blast was something like I've never felt before. I was on 57th Avenue, okay, close to the Opa-locka Airport, and the building I was in shook. My home is in Lake Glen Ellen, so I can only imagine what was going on there. I appreciate efforts. Efforts are always nice. Nice words. Thank you for everyone. Everyone tries. However, we have been tied up in this bureaucratic process for a very, very long time. Okay? This committee has been, as you know, Chair Martinez, I sat on this committee the first time around with you and had a lot of frustrations. Okay? Remember you being the sole person going up to Tallahassee, okay, to try to bring this issue to light to various people. Unfortunately, years later, we're still in the same boat, okay? We're still rowing. We haven't moved anywhere. So what is it that needs to be done? Do we need to expose this a little bit more? Perhaps. I have a very, 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 very great concern, and that is the structural integrity of the wonderful bridges, 170th and 154, okay? We already had a bridge collapse, FIU. Okay, so if we want to really move this forward, I think that's one avenue that you can, at this point, also use. Okay, because that blasting, I don't care what anyone tells me. I don't need a study. You don't have to pay me 300 grand. I will tell you, okay, that those bridges at this point are suffering damage the same way our homes are. And there are going to be cars traveling over those bridges. There's cars traveling underneath those bridges. So that's another avenue that you could possibly explore too. Okay, but waiting another year, let's see if it goes through committee, let's see what happens. We continue to wait and wait and wait. I understand, I know that Representative Fabrizio did all that he could. It's not within his hands, obviously, but at the same time, we do need a harder push. Letter to Biden, fantastic. Okay, I'm still waiting on a zip code. Still waiting on a zip code. So do I really have hope that we're going to address the blasting issue? I don't know. But I appreciate the efforts, but we definitely have to, whatever you guys need, Miguel, I'm here.
Thank you.
But I think that, there has to be a different kind of push, a media push, whatever it is that has to happen with White Rock. And just to clarify, we don't want to put them out of business. We don't want them to stop blasting. We just don't want them to blast our homes to smithereens. I don't want my home to be part of the limestone quarry, okay? Because that's what's happening. And again, the bridges are of great concern. And that's going to be on county, and that will be on FDOT if there's a tragedy there that occurs, just like what happened in FIU. So you may want to explore that avenue as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia.
Claudia, you brought a great point. A great point. Actually,
Yeah, Angela, let's finish up the public comments because we're really tight on time today.
okay.
So then we can address.
Well, I was going to say something. Okay, I'll say it at the end.
I appreciate
Okay.
it. All right, next. Yeah, Eddie online now?
Hello?
We did receive a public comment registration, Adrian Jesus Jimenez, and I believe he's on Zoom.
Yes. I was hoping to be able to make it in person. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for all their efforts. I know the board, the blasting board, advisory board has tried to do as much as they can with the amount of limited resources they can. However, I think one thing needs to be straight and needs to be clarified. We need to know what the outcome is, what the outcome we're currently seeking. Are we going to be holding the White Rock liable for the damages done to our home? Are we just trying to get them to stop the blasting? I, for one, don't care about the liability. I just want to stop what I call the blasting tax. I'm tired of subsidizing, like many are here, of subsidizing the rock mining industry, the limestone industry, with the repairs we're doing to our homes. So realistically, someone just finished saying, we're not trying to close them out. That's not the plan. We know they're providing an essential service. However, our homes shouldn't be suffering for private profit. So that's one of my biggest concerns, and I'm still afraid that one day they're going to go ahead and shift the liability over to the state, for the state being the one that comes up with the regulation. meaning at some point in the future, we might possibly be suing ourselves for the damages done by White Rock. That's one of my fears. And then two, I do appreciate any type of effort to get something done, but what really concerns me is we say we're doing a lot, but we're not doing a lot where we could. I know many of our local representatives have, well, a lot of connections with our governor, our senators, our state senators. I was under the impression that these connections could be used in order to benefit our community. I don't think at this point it's really being utilized to its full potential. And I'm also concerned with the fact that we're being told to file these complaint forms, so it seems like it always lands on the constituents to do the legwork. Do we have our representatives using their teams, going out there to get these forms filled, or are we just gonna hold our hands back and tell the community, hey, we need you guys to do the work, and then we're just gonna sit back and wait? Because as far as I know, almost every single elected official has connections to the media. However, I don't see any press conferences on the issue. I just don't see movement. So in reality, it feels like to me, like we're trying to get work done, but we're doing it at a 25%. And I work in the legal field. I work as a public adjuster. I know what it is to represent someone. However, I don't feel like we're getting the representation right now to the full extent in which it should be. I think we should be having a lot more media coverage on this. I feel like we should have our representatives with boots on the ground trying to get these forms filled if they truly care about the issue. Now, that's currently not the vibe, so to speak, that a lot of us are getting. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I myself am 100% willing and to do anything anyone needs me to do as long as we can start actually making legway. But it's a little bit frustrating for many of us in the community to kind of see, hey, we're trying to do something, but reality is we don't see that movement. We don't see it at all, actually. So we just want that clarified. I want to know what our end goal is, and two, are we actually going to start seeing, like I said, the boots on the ground trying to get this passed? Or are we just going to continue telling the constituents, hey, file those complaint forms every explosion? It doesn't make too much sense to me. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, we have state representatives Tom Fabricio and Alex Rizzo on Zoom, and I believe they're in recess now, so if we can push them to the front of the public comment.
Okay. Are there any other comments remaining?
Yes.
I'd like to comment, yes.
All right, I think that they're on recess, so they got a window.
Miguel, do you mind if we jump in here?
Sure, that'll be fine.
All right, thank you so much. So Miguel, thank you so much for having us here. I'm here with Representative Rizzo. We are literally on the floor of the Florida House. We're in one of the conference rooms right off to the side. And this has been a difficult session because we haven't been able to move this bill. And I understand the concerns that I think Mr. Jimenez was voicing as far as what he doesn't see us doing. But we do need the members of the community to fill out the complaint forms. I can't fill them out for them. My staff can direct you to the actual forms. We can give you the email address, but I can't fill out complaint forms on behalf of the community and submit them. But this session, I filed the bill that we talked about filing. We talked about it during the campaign. We talked about it during the different candidate forums. We filed a bill that would do two things: that would lower the actual ground vibration, and number two, it would repeal the litigation system that's currently in place, where that complaints would go through DOA. We filed the bill. I spoke extensively with the Speaker of the House, with the Rules Committee Chair, with incoming speakers down the road. I spoke with the Commerce Chair. I spoke with everybody about this bill. We've worked it very diligently, but it didn't have much movement. We made suggestions as to what could we do to get it to move, but it's an educational process with the folks up here. They don't understand the mining problem that we have back home. But we keep working this issue. We spoke heavily with the CFO's office as far as enacting House Bill 1047 from last year, and we got movement on that. And many of you attended the telephonic hearing that the CFO's office put on, and resulting from that, he put up the website and he's put up the system for accepting the complaint forms, which need to come in. The purpose of the complaint forms is so that there is data with regard to homeowner complaints. One thing is for you guys to complain to us. One thing is for you guys to complain in these meetings. But another thing is for there to be a volume of complaints that are contemporaneous with the actual complaints that you're making. So if you're experiencing this problem like we all are on a daily basis, we need these forms filled out. I fill out the form. I file the form when we feel the blast in my house. So we need you guys to do it as well. It's very important. The end goal here is to, number one, reduce the ground level vibration, and also to figure out what we can do to get a remedy for homeowner damage. And with that, I'll pass it over to Representative Rizzo.
Thank you, Representative. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here in this forum. Mr. Jimenez, you know, when we caught your comments, and so one of the things that Representative Fabricio talked about, obviously, was the forms and how important that is. In the last, how long has that new form been online now?
About a week.
About a week. And how many forms do we have? How many complaints do we have registered?
Several hundred.
Several hundred. So 200 to 300, I think, was the last time we talked about it 2 days ago. That is a lot, and that speaks volumes up here. Like Representative Fabricio said, a lot of what we've had to do is to explain to the other 118 members that really didn't know about this issue is what the issue does, because there's so few districts in Florida that are actually affected by it, okay? And again, it as you said, and I think as everyone knows, it is an important industry. However, you know, it's our residents that are being affected. You all and us as well. We live in these areas that are affected by it too. And by the way, I grew up in the area. I remember, the building shaking when I was 8 years old when I first moved into Hialeah Gardens. And so when I tell everyone, and when Representative Fabricio tells everyone, they're like, "Wow, that's crazy." Now, what else happens? This is a plan. This is a strategic plan to get everyone to understand, especially in leadership, just how important it is to hear these things. So when you talk about the forms being done and the legwork, you all are the voters. You're the ones that put us here. You're the ones that pay taxes. You're the ones that the governor, that the Speaker of the House, that the Chief Financial Officer pay attention and listen to. And so what happens is with all these forms being sent in, it's overwhelming evidence. It's not just anecdotal accounts anymore that says exactly what is going on. And that empowers us to then bring forth this issue and say, we want this to be heard. And we need to start getting to some point to be able to not only mediate exactly what's going on, but remedy what's been going on. And so that's why it's so very important. You know, the governor knows about this issue, and Northwest Miami-Dade is very important to him. So believe me, all of this is important to us to be able to bring this to a head, really, and get what we all need, which is what all you all need.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Miguel.
Gentlemen, I think some of the residents were asking if you could field some questions.
Sure, of course.
Representative Rizzo and Fabricio, this is Esther Colin. I'm just curious. We've collected over, Miguel Martinez and his organization has collected over 7,000 forms. What has the state been doing with them? We've been forwarding them to the state, so that they ignore them, or we're going to have to reinvent the 7,000? Are they not being counted?
Miguel, please send me the 7,000 forms.
She's referring to the emails that have gone through our website.
Yeah, the emails, those are emails that Look, I'll tell you, this is what I'll tell you. As legislators, we receive thousands of emails on a daily basis. Those with asking us to vote one way or another on every bill, and even bills that don't exist. Those emails get lost in the shuffle. It's good to do them, but those emails aren't doing what we need. Those emails aren't the complaint form that needs to be filed with the CFO's office.
And if I might say, one of the things that happens that we hear a lot about is that a lot of times it just blends in. The email blends into a noise. And again, some email is effective. I go through mine, and Representative Fabricio goes through his all the time. And we pick out the ones that we see aren't generated by a machine, aren't generated by someone randomly saying, oh, it's just a form with the same thing. And so that's one of the things. Yes, it can get out there, but really what happens is, it's one of the tools in the quiver, so to speak. We need to continue to do other things. So those forms really now are something that quantify and qualify exactly what you're feeling in our districts.
Out of curiosity, can we pick out the relevant emails and attach them to the form and submit it to you?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking, but what I suggest is every time a blast is felt, your house shakes, something breaks, you need to fill out the form and send it via email to the Mind Blasting Clearinghouse email that's been created by the CFO's office. Because they're calculating that data and those forms. And according to that statute, they are going to be acting on that. Our view of the value of those forms being filed is really towards the quantification, the total number of complaints they received, number one, and then number two, how contemporaneous they are to the actual blast data once the blast data starts getting released. So we can show, hey, look, these guys are blasting, and at these times, look at all the complaints that you're receiving.
I think if I may interject, in similar fashion, the police departments, whenever you find some improper activity, they always request to call it in and notify. Even though no action will happen at that moment, they're logging the calls and the complaints. When they find an area that's getting multiple logs of complaints, then they begin logging these numbers, and it becomes part of the census for the following year to create some sort of activity in that area for either surveillance or whatever is needed to curtail those type of complaints. And I think that's the intention of what they're talking about. The reality is, it's arguable that the CFO's office, their only enforcement is that they regulate the licensure and the 0.5 PPV value. Now, neither of the two, any resident be privy to any value of the PPV value attacking their house or licensure. I assure you that the miners are well aware and competent of their licensure activity and the PPV value. And the CFO's office is not looking at damages. The complaints they're receiving will be of damages. So the two aren't correlated. The only correlation they'll have is the amount of complaints that they're receiving, and that begins to sum up. When they're receiving 1,000 complaints of an area, it's going to quantify that we have a problem. There's something going on. And I think that's what they're getting at.
That's right. That's right, Miguel. We need to have that data, and we use that as fodder to continue to fight our battle here.
I had some feedback and some questions for the representatives. My name is Peter Tomas.
Hi, Peter.
I submitted a complaint form, and I got a call back from the South Florida Fire Marshal.
Good.
I think it's Robert but he called me back, and he was very candid. He told me, "Look, thank you for submitting the complaint form. I can tell you that it was within acceptable limits. I think it was a 0.2 versus a 0.5. So you can submit. You'll definitely submit the complaint form, and we'll log it. But they're operating within acceptable PPE limits, or PPV, or whatever it is. But here's the thing. I mean, when people hear that, what's your incentive to keep on submitting complaint forms when all you're going to hear is continuously, well, they're operating within PPE? What's going to happen is that you'll have a spike initially of complaints, but people are going to stop, and they're going to stop sending those complaints because Or, you know, you're going to hear that it's legal, what the mining industry is legal. So there's nothing that the state fire marshal can do.
Peter, you're right. The issue is that they are currently, I mean, I suppose that particular blast was within that limit, but we need the data. We need the data, and you're right about people getting frustrated with the process. But we do need the data. We need people to complain in that fashion, because that's something that's trackable, it's measurable, it's something that we could use as support to say, listen, this is an issue, it's out of control. And it needs to be remedied. And look at the data, look at all the people who are constantly, every time that a blast occurs, are complaining about it. And these are their complaints. So that's, while it is frustrating, it's frustrating for all of us. You know, trust me, there's, whether you believe me or not, there's nobody who wants to have this issue resolved more than I do. And I've spoken to everybody from the governor's office on down about this issue. And we need the data to support the issue, to support the fact that it's not just a couple of angry folks, that we have folks that are, you know, we have a community and they need recourse with this issue, that we need to reduce the actual ground vibration level. And this is how we can go. This is one way of going about doing it. Another thing that we're doing is, and I can release this. I just got off the phone a little while ago with them. For a seismology study in that bill from 2020. So we're going to be using that money if you know, we're working with FIU, and now I got to put them together with the CFO's office, and we'd like to have them do the actual seismology study. So the seismology study, in conjunction with the actual complaint data, will help us build our case.
And if I may, Representative Peter, if I could just to surmise a little something that I heard you say and the representative say, with these complaint forms, even though, yes, it's legal, we could say that there is a problem, thereby we need to change the law. That is the essence of what we're trying to say and ask for with the which eventually will be an unbelievable amount of complaint forms, to say that, yes, we do have a problem and it needs to be addressed legislatively. We need to do something.
No, I really appreciate, I mean, your efforts. The one thing, I mean, just one more thing I wanted to point out. I think the existing process to submit a form is very cumbersome, having to download a form, fill it out, and scan it and send it back. This should be made easy. It should be an online form where somebody can go in and type in the information and submit it. That would, I guarantee you that if you do that, you'll have 10 times the amount of forms submitted, because right now it's hard for somebody to go out and, you know, do this every time, scan it, email it, download it, scan it, email it. So it should be an online form that you can submit it online. Just, you know, it's just, and if you want to have this form as a backup for people that, for whatever reason, don't have any, you know, computers, then you know, it should be that way. But I think it should be an online form. And then one last thing in terms of transparency, I know you guys said that you went up to the state and you know, talked to your colleagues, but, you know, just let's be clear here. The one person who held this up was Rama. He was in charge of putting this in front of his committee, and he chose to block it and not hear it in his committee. So I want to be clear for everybody on this call. It was his call to listen to this or not, and he blocked it. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that as well.
Yeah, you know, remember, we are, and it's not to make excuses for anything, we are a legislative body. There's 120 of us. And if we were executives, it would be very simple, just with a wave of a pen to change something. But we have to work within the system, and that is part of the system, that there are chairs and sub-chairs that can hear these things and or possibly not hear them. With respect to something that you said about the form, absolutely. And I saw that Representative Fabricio is on it, and I'm sure the moment that we that we're off the call, I'm sure he's going to call, you know, the fire marshal, the chief financial officer of the state Petronas, to have this done. And if not, I'm sure our offices will work together to figure out, to get some kind of PDF fillable form that would make it very, very simple to do.
Right. And one thing, so we're also there are other parts of the county that have started to make complaints about blasting damage and feeling their houses shake. So one of the things that we're going to do is next week I am working on setting up a conference call with with that other representative and the CFO's office to start setting up the initiative with FIU. I'm going to send them a text message now about the working on the form, but I'll speak to them in more details. And I agree with you. When I saw the website, I expected that there would be what I consider, and I'm not an IT guy, but an online form, something that you could literally fill out on the screen, and that would generate some sort of a message or whatnot to their database so they can have that information. I thought that would have been a more elegant way of handling that, but it's literally a PDF that you have to kind of download or fill out online. So I will be speaking with them about that, as well as working together with other members to get this moving forward. The other thing, with regard to Representative Rommel, one of the things that I'm going to do is for next session, we're going to obviously run the bill again, but it's going to look a little differently, and I'm going to work to have it referenced to other committees. So my goal would be that it would be referenced around Representative Rommel's committee, so we won't see that roadblock. But again, that's not completely within my control. The data that you guys provide to the CFO's office will help me in getting that to move along. And one of the other things that we're going to work on, both Representative Rizzo and I, are over the summer. We're wrapping up a session right now. Actually, I see we're going to have the speaker come back to the rostrum in a few minutes. But tomorrow is the last day of session, and we're going to be going back to our districts, back home to Hialeah, Miami Lakes, and Miramar. And one of the things that what I want to do is I want to bring down other representatives from around the state to visit the area and to speak with you guys and meet the residents and see the blasting damage, and so that in order to generate more support here in the Florida House with regard to that issue. But you should know that we do have a lot of we have put forth an extreme amount of effort on this issue, and we will continue to do so.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Through the chair, this is Ray Garcia. Thank you, representatives, for all your hard work. Very appreciated.
Thanks, Ray.
Quick question. Is there any way, what do you feel is the tipping point to try to get at least some sort of moratorium on the blasting sometime before the next legislative session? We're looking at another year. Is there anything, in your opinion, that would tip the scales for them to pause the blasting, or at least the level of blasting? So it's because it's out of hand. But is there any way to get a moratorium on that? Is the way of going through the federal government, the Corps of Engineers, the letter to the president, the letter to the governor? What is your opinion, representatives, on that?
So what I'll tell you on that issue, as far as ways of addressing this issue, separate and apart, or not necessarily only looking at it from the legislative process that we're involved here in Tallahassee, what I'd like to do, and one of the things that I'm going to do as well, is I'm going to work on, I want to work on creating a situation where I can have members of the community meet with the miners as well, and discuss with them the issues, so that the miners can meet the members of the community and hear directly from you guys the issues. That was something that Miguel may be able to tell you that I worked on setting up that meeting, and unfortunately that meeting didn't go forward. But we're going to work on doing that so that there's more communication, and perhaps we can discuss with them in whatever manner possible, reducing their blasting levels.
Ray, I would say, I can't speak to what the possibility is to stop it, to have a moratorium on it. What I can tell you is this committee is key to having the issue spoken about and in front of elected officials. So it's not just us here in this body being the spokespeople for it, but what are our senators doing about it? What do they know about it? You know, because that's really the key, is quantifying and qualifying what is going on. So again, it's educating everyone. I would say we have to have our congressmen involved. We have to have our senators involved. We have to have our governor involved. We have to have directly the chief financial officer involved, you know? And I would say that using this forum as sort of the tip of the spear, and every time you meet, every time we talk, every time we quantify and qualify these complaints, if we send it out to all these bodies that we just mentioned, more information is better. Sun Tzu said information is the key to war, and the most powerful and potent force in war. And I would say let's follow that. Like I said, I don't know if we can get a moratorium. We would love a moratorium. However, the economy is raging back, and as you can see in the uptick of the blasts, I think everyone has seen the last couple of times that we've been back to the district during session, we see the mountain of aggregate that is right off of I-75. That is a direct correlation to the economy booming back. And so I
agree with that. I also, you know, if the mining industry sees that, hey, there's maybe a possibility of a moratorium, maybe they can scale back the level of blasting, blast a little bit more, double or triple the blasting frequency, but lower. I mean, anything we can do to make them think, right? And I agree with both of you. So I appreciate your efforts. Thank you for your efforts up there in Tallahassee for your constituents, and I hope you're safe and your family stays safe.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you to all of you. And listen, you have our word that we will continue to fight. The session is dying, but it doesn't mean that we stop work.
I need to talk to them before they leave.
Yeah, because they have to return. I think we have a question with Angelo.
Hello. Miguel, so we'll do one more question and then we're going to have to head back.
Okay, basically, Mr. Rizzo and Mr. Fabricio, good evening, good afternoon. One of our constituents brought up a very good point, and it's really got me worried about something, and that's about that 170th bridge. I would ask both of you, if possible, that you guys look into doing a study before they open that bridge, because the last thing we need in this county is to have that bridge with a payload of people, pedestrians, cars fall. That would be, I mean, the trillionaire family, Basilio, whatever they're called, won't have enough funds to cover the lawsuit that they would get if that bridge falls. So I highly recommend that you tell whatever person it is up there, whether it's Jimmy Patrone or it's whoever, that they need to take this very serious about this bridge. I highly recommend that both of you take this voice to whoever needs to be taken to take the time to inspect that bridge, to see if there has been any shifting in that bridge before they open it. I don't know, I lost communication.
Both bridges.
No,
Do you copy?
Was that Angelo?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Angelo, how are you? Long time no see.
If it gets any better, I'd be in heaven.
I hear you.
And we'll brainstorm on that, but definitely I think that's something that we could start directing some people to try to get done through FDOT and things like that.
Right.
But and absolutely, you're absolutely right. The just imagining that is horrific, and so that is a very important point.
I don't know what happened to my sound. I'll tell you the last one. About 3 hours ago, I got a call from a lady that she lives with her 2 daughters on that west side where that bridge is. Her husband is serving overseas, and she said to me, Angelo, when these people blast, I don't know what they're thinking, but she says that she feels that that she's so afraid that one day when they blast, there's going to become a crater. I don't know what it's called, a crater or a sinkhole, and You know, what does it need? What are they waiting for? For a building or a house to be sucked in before they take any action? And I'll tell you the last thing that I recommend. If we took, and if everybody's listening to me out there, if we took some buses and we convoyed it up to Tallahassee with hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of people one day, and we visited Mr. Jimmy Patrone's office for some coffee, I think he would listen to us. But it can't be 5 people. It can't be 10 people. There needs to be thousands of people going up there. That's all I've got to say.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Angelo.
Thank you. If like I think we've always said it since the beginning, is that people up here in Tallahassee listen to people. Again, you know, you have a great voice and a great leader in Representative Fabricio, and I've got broad shoulders, and I just kind of block and do what I need to do for him because he takes the lead on all of this. And so, but we are just 2 representatives, and yes, representatives do have some a little bit of power up here, but really, it's people that people listen to, people that people in Tallahassee listen to. So you're absolutely right. And that's why everything that we've been talking about is so important, to continue and not let up. Let everyone up here know what needs to be listened to and what is important and how it's affecting real people.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. I know you have to return to the floor.
Miguel, thank you so much for having us, and all the other members of the advisory board and members of the town council who may be on. And I'm not sure if Mayor Messam is on from Miramar, but I appreciate your comments and your support. The last thing I want to leave you with is if you need to communicate with me, give me a call. My phone number is 305-606-3071. If I don't answer, leave me a message. I will call you back. I call and I speak with everybody who reaches out to me. Call me. I'm happy to discuss this issue with you at length. I'm going to be back in the district next week. I'm happy to meet with you. I'm happy to have you come over to my office in Hialeah Gardens, and we can sit down and we can talk about it at length. Over the summer, I'd love to bring folks to your house to look at the blasting damage. Give me a call. We are accessible. Feel
Tom,
free to
this
reach
is
out.
Juan Barrett. Can I just ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Nice to see you both.
Who
So
is it?
Tallahassee have taken over this situation since the 90s, okay? So
Oh,
we've
Dr.
been
Breck.
doing politics since the 90s. And so my question is, I saw you both on a political debate with former Mayor Alex Penelas, and he asked, I saw that video last night, if you were both considering the idea of bringing from Tallahassee back to the county, for the county to regulate the mines and the blastings. You both agree. So
Oh,
would that
Dr.
be
Barrett,
considered also? Would that be considered also?
Dr. Barrett, let me ask you a question. Have you read House Bill 143 that I filed?
But we're going beyond politics right now, and I was just
Dr. Barrett,
asking you.
Have you read the bill?
Yes, I have. So,
Okay, good.
but
In that
what does
bill,
that have to do with
I
my
asked to
question, Mr.
repeal- Dr.
Fabricio?
Barrett, give me a second. In that bill, I asked to repeal the DOA immunity.
So, are you planning perhaps what you promised while you were running with Mr. Rizzo, bringing back the possibility back to the county? Have you guys considered that? Because we've been trying Tallahassee since the 90s,
I think you can hear me.
and nothing is actually going on.
Dr. Barek, I filed the bill that I said that I would in that debate. I specifically, in that bill, seek to repeal.
Was that bill amended?
The bill was never amended. I discussed the issue with the chair, whether amending the bill would allow it to be heard. So for purposes of reducing ground level vibration, and it was not. Even that didn't induce having the bill heard.
I just asked you a question, sir, because we've been going around social media
And Dr. Barek, if you had questions, you can always give me a call. You have my phone number.
Dr. Barek, can you hear me? Hello,
I think
Dr.
he's
Barek, can you
speaking.
hear me?
He's speaking, but his microphone is off.
For the record, for anyone else that's listening, I would gladly support anything to bring it back to Miami-Dade County, where we would have some sort of control over this, some local control over this. Believe me, and I think Representative Fabricio, I won't speak for him, but I think he probably agrees. The issue becomes, can anyone do that? I don't know that anyone can, and I'm not even sure if the governmental entity in Miami-Dade County would want that. But believe me, if we could, we absolutely would try that.
I have a
Are
quick
you there?
comment, Mr. Fabricio.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for taking the time and taking this call as well. But realistically, when do you think that we'll see an end to this? When do you think that we will see an end to the vibration that's happening beneath our feet?
I think with
Ballpark
the
figure.
I think the representatives have to go back to the floor.
So what I'll tell you with regard to that is I wish I had an answer. I wish I had a magic wand and I could tell you that tomorrow the blasting would stop. But I can't tell you that. What I can tell you is that I'll continue working on the issue, that we're building consensus. We're speaking with folks. We have a game plan and we're going to continue working on reducing the ground level vibration.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I think we still have time for another question if you have more.
Okay, is anybody else with a question for the state representatives?
Yes. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, hi.
Yes. Is there a moderator? Are we calling on people?
No, go ahead. You.
Is this Amy?
Okay.
Is this you?
Please
This
state
is
your name.
Amy.
Please
Okay,
state your
we saw
name.
your name pop up.
Okay, so I wanted to know what
Please
efforts
say your
could
name,
look
ma'am.
like going forward. I did hear that collecting in New Orleans
Can you say your
5,000
name, ma'am?
letters did sway the Army Corps of Engineers to at least pay attention to the matter. So if we've failed in this year's legislation, what about a drive to gain letters from the community, not just the complaints, letters from everybody in the community, organizing with the other affected communities and making 5,000 look like peanuts?
Sure.
I think that's a great idea, and I think that would be an excellent project for this board to take up. I'm happy to work with the board in that effort, but I think Mayor Sid may have started with that project, and I think this board would be perfect to spearhead that issue, to spearhead that letter collection.
Ma'am, can you please state your name for the record?
Oh, it's Amy Lipson.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I have one more question.
Go for it.
Can we at least get a commitment from both you, Representative Rizzo, and Representative Fabricio, that you guys will at least try to get more news coverage on this? This is one of those things, like you guys mentioned, it needs to be seen. So we can't get the media's eye on this, but we know very well you guys have the connections to get those news conferences, those press releases. Can we get a commitment from you guys that we'll start to see more of these press releases so we can get some traction with not just within our districts, but even amongst Miami-Dade? Because there's a lot of people in Miami-Dade who don't know we're suffering from this, and that's because there's a lack of coverage. So I think that's one of the best uses of your guys' time, and at least in the short term, to get that additional traction, because we can't continue having just our constituents on the TV talking about this. We need our elected officials. You guys are the best one who know more about this issue, who are representing us, that can get the attention that we need.
Well, and if I could just address it quickly, and I'm sorry, who's speaking?
That's Adrian Jimenez.
Adrian, hi. Again, so Adrian, here's the thing. yes, definitely. You see us, and we're not backing down from this at all. We represent you. We truly do, and we will continue to do so. And so one of the things that we want to make sure of is that this isn't the typical politician dog and pony show. Hey, call the media up. And that's one of the reasons why, with these numbers in hand, okay, just like Amy just said, the 5,000, let's make that look like an anthill, you know, compared to other signatures and people and everything else. That's why, you know, it's so important to get these complaints in our hands as well. And again, going back to what, you know, what we were talking about with Ray, is this committee, is to get people involved and get more people, so that when we do go out and we say, okay, we're going to have a press conference at an affected house that's in, for example, Royal Oaks or PSN, that, you know, the entire side of the house is now subsiding or something like that. That's powerful. Again, the media is going to look at this and say, okay, is it just these politicians that want to get, you know, mayor time? But when they really see people affected, and that's why it's so important for all of us to work together. The other thing I would say to this, Adrian, is this. There's typical media, and now there's social media, okay? And social media has become such a powerful force that people do listen. And again, there's numbers. That's where the strength lies. So let's continue. Do you have the commitment from me? Absolutely. Yes, you do. And we will continue to do so. So if that's what is effective and that's what this committee wants to do, then yes, absolutely. Let's do it. And I'll use whatever influence I might have. And again, you know, here's my colleague and my brother, you know, Representative Fabricio, who really is the one that's been pushing this forward with everyone, with me right behind him and lockstep with him.
I'm happy to work with this board, and we can certainly put together a press release when I return to the district next week, discussing these issues.
Absolutely.
Hi,
So,
good afternoon. I had a question for the representatives, if I may.
Please state your
My
name.
name is Paula Battis. I want to make sure I'm unmuted.
Who is it, Nicole?
Can you please state your name for the record? Thank you.
Yes. My name is Paola Battis.
Paola.
Hi, thank you so much for joining the blasting committee meeting and letting us know what it is that you have been working on. I had a question. I know it was mentioned that that you're working with FIU to create a study, but it's my understanding that there has been several studies and seismographs that have been left in the neighborhood, and there's data that has already been collected. And I believe it was the Town of Miami Lakes Blasting Committee that took the charge on that. Can't you use that data in order to present it to the CFO?
I've actually asked for that data, so I haven't seen that data yet, but that data would be phenomenal if it could be provided to me. That's number one. Number two, there was a study done at some point in the past, and there were some questions about whether it was biased data in the prior study. So the reason that we were attempting to work with FIU and get them involved in this process is so that we could have what we consider to be an unbiased entity performing the study. And my view is that a seismologist at FIU would be somebody who has his own academic credentials, and I believe would be unbiased. So that's the purpose of that. But yeah, if you guys have data to provide, please do, by all means.
And Paul, if I could piggyback on that, I actually sat on the task force that was formed by then Representative, now State Senator Manny Diaz, that took a look at that data and that study, okay? One of the things that I looked at and we saw immediately is that there was no control group. There was no set of houses somewhere else in the state under the same circumstances that you could say, okay, what effect does this have versus what effect does it have the houses in a blasting area? That was never looked at. If you don't have that comparison, the study is flawed, okay? And so that was my major concern. I'm sorry?
No, I understand now. I wasn't aware because I don't believe the data was released to the public, so I'm not exactly sure how it was conducted, but it does make sense that a control would be needed.
I think I'm not sure if she's
Right.
talking about separate data
Right.
from what was done in
Right,
that
the last
respect
major study, the last major study that was funded by the state was the one that I worked on. And I saw, we disaggregated that data and saw it, and we saw some major flaws in it. Now, what it goes to is that with that specific set of data, it showed that everything that was happening would normally happen anyway. I don't think so. I do have a little bit of basis in science, and I can tell you that I don't think so. All of you that live there have seen the effects of blasting and settling, basically. Settling really, I think, is the biggest issue that affects most of the houses. And I think that is the biggest issue versus, you see people, people that live far east of the blasting and they don't have these issues. And so there is some issues with the fill that's involved in the newer houses. There is a lot of issues with the quality of, say, the workmanship of some of these houses and things like that. But overall, yes, the blasting thereby causing the settling is I think what probably is adding to most of the damage that you all and we all see on a daily basis.
Hope Reynolds, I have a question.
I hope.
How are you? You mentioned a website, Tom, and the problem that we're having is that we are no longer on Facebook because they're censoring some of our posts. So if you could send us the link directly to, I'll make sure that the group that follows us can actually get the information. Thank you.
So, Hope, what I'll tell you about that is, if anybody calls me or my office, my staff or I will send you the information directly. Miguel Martinez also has the information.
And you can
Excellent, then I'll get it. Thank you very much.
Anyone, it doesn't matter whether you live in 103 or 110, you could call my office as well, and we work in conjunction anyway. Yes. So we'll be able to help you.
Good evening.
Hello?
It's Gloria Garcia. Thank you both.
Hi, Ms. Garcia. Hello, Gloria.
Hi. Hello. Nice to see you both. Thank you very much. I just want to mention something that I think has gone unnoticed. Apart from being a homeowner, I'm also a business owner within the town of Miami Lakes, and a lot of our businesses are being interrupted daily. And so I think we need to target business owners as well as homeowners to really increase the number of these complaints that are being filtered, because we're on a third-story building that shakes and rattles daily. It's also causing a lot of interruption in the daily work. So, and not to say the fear of having a building collapse on you and your employees. So these are issues that are real. And I think, and clients actually that come in, yes, and local schools also, I see it on the chat, are being affected. So there's a lot that's being affected in the community beyond just the cracking of our pools and our homes that needs to be addressed. Maybe perhaps the business chambers or chamber of commerce in the community can gather something together, but we need to do more beyond the homes. Thank you both.
And thank you, Gloria. And yes, you're absolutely true. Correct. My office, my business office, not my state office, my business office is on Eagle Nest Drive, right behind the Publix in Miami Lakes. And I feel it when I'm there as well. My staff feels it, obviously. So you're absolutely right. And maybe what we could do is we could ask, the business, like you said, the chambers. Maybe we could speak to them and do something with that. And also through the business committee, I forgot what it's called, the entrepreneurship committee, the small business committee, town of Miami Lakes Business Advisory Committee, might be able to do something
Economic
as well
development.
to help that out.
Economic development, I believe, yes.
Hello.
Hi, who's this?
Irene Toroella Garcia.
Hi, Irene.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to piggyback off of what Paola was saying. She was talking about a study that was done in our area. I'm fully aware of the studies that were done by Manny Diaz way back when, but this was done by Miguel. Miguel put seismic, I guess, machines in some houses, including mine, and Miguel did a study. So I'm just wondering what the results of that study were.
I don't know. Is Miguel there? Can he speak to that?
That study was privately funded. It's not a state sponsored study. So that is part of
Why would it matter if it's a state-sponsored study? If it's a state, that would make it biased. This is,
Correct.
you
So
made it
that's
seem
why
like
it's
the
not,
science,
it's not a
the
viable study
scientists
for,
were unbiased.
it's not public
So
record
Irene,
for
I'm so
that.
sorry,
It's
I
a
can't
private
speak
study.
to that data, but we are working on getting our study that's going to be paid by the state going with FIU.
But you
So
see,
as
but
data-
but
as
getting but
information
getting
comes out with regard to that issue, we'll be I'll be informing this committee. Happy to come back on here and discuss it, as well as through my own town halls on my through my social media.
But doing another state study that's going to cost taxpayers money, that's going to be biased because it's being done by, unfortunately, people that are kind of on the minor side, mostly on the minor side. It's kind of, I don't understand how it's going to be any different than any of the other studies that have been done. If it's not done by an outside source, an
Irene,
unbiased source.
Irene, it's gonna be done by, if it works the way I would like it to work, it would be done by FIU. And I don't know that FIU is on anybody's side.
Well, we assumed that the people that Manny Diaz paid weren't on anyone's side either, didn't we? When they
Well,
used our
wasn't-
money to do those studies?
Well, if I could just clarify something, it wasn't Manny Diaz that was paying for it. It was appropriated.
It was
by
the taxpayers.
state. It was appropriated by the state, and yes, you're absolutely correct, taxpayer dollars. And it went to basically a study group that does this with the mines. And so, yeah, that might have been a problem, but the senator wasn't involved in picking who it was. But still, I think that Tom's Representative Fabricio's idea is far more balanced in that if we can get a university involved, we can get a real academic view of what this is, and thereby I think that would probably be the one that I think all of us could agree to would be the most unbiased measure of what it is that we're looking at.
Okay, so then the information that Miguel collected from my house and from other houses in the area was just for nothing, or that didn't go anywhere, or that.
I can't speak to that. I mean, Miguel has been working diligently on this issue for many years, and I think he's the point person on this issue. But perhaps you can have an offline conversation with him, and you guys can work it out. Any other questions?
Hello?
Hi, who's this?
This is Amy. I just had one more question.
Sure, Amy.
Instead of the rigmarole of getting somebody to come down here and go house to house, which just seems kind of like, that would be good for media, but it just seems kind of like a waste of time. What about having a site that's public domain where people can constantly upload, not just to the state, fire marshal, but they can upload their pictures of their damages, their videos, their daily complaints, something that can grow education and local awareness and attention so that we become too large to be ignored. And so people do see what's happening, and the rest of Miami-Dade is aware of what's happening with us.
I think that would be a wonderful initiative for this board to take.
And Amy, and something that we were talking to is perhaps using social media as a platform to be able to do something like that. Absolutely. And remember that when we speak and we talk about these different things to do, it's not like we're trying to put all our eggs in one basket. What we're trying to say is let's have as many weapons as we possibly can. And so, having people come down and visit is one thing. Having powerful people come down and influential people come down and visit, that does speak volumes when you see this. That's just like when we say, we need your help in coming up en masse and being in front of a committee, being in front of, asking for appointments with chairs to say, look, we need this to be heard. That's very important and very powerful when you hear testimony like that and you hear from people. So I just think, like I said, that's one of the weapons, so to speak, but you're absolutely right. Having a database that we can say, look at this. For example, I'm not saying this is the way, but say it's Instagram. And now all of a sudden you see, look, all these different places, all these different, generalized addresses showing all this stuff and saying, listen, this is part of what we're talking about. It's not the end all, obviously, but it is something that, coupled with everything else, might end up getting us to the tipping point.
I would say the most valuable things that we've talked about that I think you want to kind of go back to and we need to continue to work on is, number one, filing the complaints regularly. Every time you feel the ground vibration, you see damage as a result of a blast, you need to document that with a complaint to the CFO's office. That's number one. Number two, I love the idea of the 5,000 letters. So that letter writing campaign, I think, is something that you guys really should take on. And I would love to work with you guys on that project. But I think that's something that it should be taken on by this board. And you should start gathering the signatures or putting together the letters and get that going. I think that could be very positive. And the third thing is what we're talking about as far as the monitoring and getting FIU involved. We're working on that side of it. And I'm hoping to be able to provide more information as we move forward in that process. But at this point, we're going to have to run.
But just one final comment. This is Hope. How about a bike ride through all of our neighborhoods, and we invite anyone you want from Tallahassee, and we just simply do the blasting bike ride.
I like the blasting bike ride. And again, something for this board to arrange, and I would work with the board to discuss with folks who could come down and visit. But as Hope, as you know, I've walked the district many times, and very soon I'll be out there walking again. So we're out there.
Well, in our area, we will host you at our house. How's that?
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. So, folks, thank you so much for having us. Let's make sure. Miguel, would you do me a favor, because I don't have it with me here? Would you post the actual the website for the blasting complaints to this meeting, so we have it officially here on the record? And any calls, please feel free to give me a call, 305-606-3071. That's my cell phone number. That is my only cell phone number. So if you don't get me immediately, I will be calling you back. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you giving us and indulging us with, I think, about an hour of time here to talk to you.
All right, thank you
Thank
very
you all.
much.
We'll be back.
you.
We're done, God willing, tomorrow, and we'll be back in the district for at least 2 weeks, and we've got to come back for probably about a week, and then we're back home again. And so we will continue to work on this issue, and let's get together however we can to keep pushing it to the forefront.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, representatives. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Have a good one. All right. So getting back, how many more public comments do we have listed?
We have the councilwoman who has been patiently waiting.
I think we have one waiting here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair Martinez. And thank you to the state representatives. I know that they're not with us anymore, but these two gentlemen have worked harder than anyone else on this issue. And I want to appreciate their work because I've been to Tallahassee myself and I know how difficult it is. And they're up there, taking the hits for us. So we really truly appreciate their work. One of the issues that we're having is the issue that this is a local issue, and you have to live in this area to understand what happens. You have to feel the blast. You have to see your house breaking to understand what's happening. But it's governed by people that have no idea what it's like. They don't understand it. They don't know anything about it. But we have to convince them that it's a problem. And so that's what the state representatives do. I've been there myself. I've been to Tallahassee, and I've had these representatives and senators look at me and say, I don't know what you're talking about, and quite frankly, it's a problem in your community, and I'm not interested. They don't mince words about it. That's exactly what they tell you. This is not really something that we're interested in addressing. So I see this room. I know that we have this meeting today. It's something that people knew about, and I see this room, and I see the same people that I've been seeing for the last 10 years. I don't see anybody else here. So when I very first got elected, this was one of my priorities, was to create this committee. and to bring this problem to light. Many people didn't know about it. Outside of this area, nobody knew about it. You walk into Tallahassee now and everybody knows about it. So there has been progress made. The progress is incredibly slow. But to me, the biggest problem is community involvement. We need to be more involved as a community. The residents need to make their voices heard. We sent a bus to Tallahassee and it wasn't empty because Mr. Miguel Martinez was on the bus and Miss Idel Yavor was on the bus. If it weren't for those two people, the bus would have been empty.
Adela War was not on the bus.
I'm sorry?
Adela War was not on the bus.
Idel wasn't with you on the bus? Who was the other person with you on the bus?
Yvonne.
Yvonne.
Yvonne and I don't recall. Lally Stack and.
Oh, Idel went the second time.
Right.
Okay. Idel went on the flight.
Correct.
Okay, so out of the 33,000 residents that we have in the town, we've managed to get 3 or 4 individuals to participate. I saw the empty bus go to Tallahassee.
Correct.
And it was very disheartening because we come into this chamber and you put a lot of time and effort into this. This is not the first year of this committee. You work very, very hard and the resident participation is very small. If you look at meetings that are conducted in other areas and you see community issues, you'll see a room with 300 people in it. You will see people participating. And I want to make it very clear to the residents that no matter how much we fight, until we do not see crowds of people, and this is to Mr. Angelo's point, until we do not see numerous amounts of people voicing their opinions and voicing their concerns, this is not going to go anywhere. Our state representatives can only do so much. So there is an application process. I think one of the first things that we should do is that we should make that readily available to everyone, that complaint form, make it readily available, post it on our social media, post it on our website, and continue to harp on it. Every week, have a different post. If you have blasting issues, fill out this form. Because if we do not show our numbers, we're not going to go anywhere. We've been having the same conversation for a very long time. I know that the mayor's been to Tallahassee. This year he was the only one that went up there, but I'm sure that he touched upon it because any one of us that ever gets anyone's ear, we touch upon it. But the reality is that we cannot show, if this room was filled with people, if this was standing room only, we could take that picture and send it to someone. But there's no one here. So we make the effort, we come, but the resident participation has always been very, very, very minimal. So we used to think that it was because we didn't post it enough or because residents didn't know our social media wasn't harping on it enough. I'm here today because it was all over social media. I saw it. The mayor posted something about it today. He actually posted about a blast today. He sent an open invitation. Who's here? Very few people are here. So if it's not important enough for you to take an hour of your day and come out here and join us in numbers, then there's no way that this message is ever going to translate to Tallahassee, to those senators and those representatives that don't know anything about our community, that it's a big problem. So my message to the community, and I've said it, I went door to door when I campaigned this time, and I said it. We've done about as much as we can as a committee. Our state reps are fighting the fight, but every individual that is affected by blasting needs to make an effort to participate. We would be more than happy to send 4 or 5 buses to Tallahassee, Angelo. We couldn't manage to send 1. We invited the residents of Miramar. We invited the city of Miramar to participate. Nobody came. So if it is this big a problem, we need to make it known. That's the only thing that I wanted to add. You guys have my support. Anything that you need.
Hello. City of Miramar has been here since the start of the meeting.
We're waiting patiently to participate.
Excuse me, please mute yourself until your name is called for public comment.
I'm sorry. So you have my support as a council member in any direction that you want to move in. We can do social media. We can have, websites. I know that the representative said the social media is the new media. How do we get the news channels and everyone to pay attention to this issue? Ask Mr. Angelo. He's made it happen with one of our biggest problems here in this community. We can get them out here, but we need residents to participate because we want to show how big a problem this is. I think that if we don't go in that direction, very little is going to happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you.
Through the chair, I made the recommendation last time that we should think very strongly on creating a blasting day. And that needs to be done as soon as possible. I think what our councilwoman just said was something so strong. I think that if instead of being their home we were talking about pets or iguanas or something to that effect, I think that we'd have more people here. But, you know, the Lord says, and I'm not going to get religious here, the Lord says your home is your what?
It's your castle.
It's your castle. I get people complaining constantly. Oh, my home. There's a lady on Facebook. She was crying the other day. Oh, my house, mi casa, is falling apart. Where is she? Where is she? And like that, we've got thousands of them. Just like that young lady that called me and I talked to her about 4 hours ago. Oh, I'm afraid. My 2 daughters, me, my husband's overseas. I'm afraid that my townhouse is going to get down in a sinkhole. Why isn't she here? Why did she take the time to put thousands of hours that Miguel Martinez has put into this? I don't think I would have already given up already. This man has put thousands of hours. That takes dedication. So getting back to the point, let's put together a blasting day. Whether I've got to invite them at a park to come out and buy them hot dogs, and definitely if I tell them they're going to be Coney Island hot dogs, they'll all be there. Yeah. Oh, Coney Island hot dogs, all you can eat, Coca-Cola, snacks, whatever. And they'll all come out there. So, the blasting day. Please, Miguel. Thank you. Back to the chair.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I'm in all favor for this, and I'd just like to add this past month has been an eye-opener for me, for lack of a better word. I've been insulted, I've been demeaned, I've been ridiculed, the works, you name it. But moreover, I've been advised that the blasting, I've been asked, what is it? In this day and age, to be asked, what is that? That it's the mall going up or the construction of the highway blew my mind. It blew my mind. And I had no words to say. What else? I'm out of breath repeating the same thing over and over. Lessons learned, money spent, energy, time, and people are still doubting or questioning what is going on. But nobody likes to see the damage, or what's occurring, or feeling the sensation, or any of the above. It's very frustrating, and I think the frustration is shared by all.
Through the chair to Councilwoman Marilyn Ruano, please.
I'm sorry?
Through the chair to Councilmember Marilyn Ruano, Councilwoman. I'd like to ask a question.
Certainly.
I believe 3 years ago, we had over 200 people in attendance in an event that was held. I believe Abel Fernandez moderated it, you moderated it. Councilwoman Marilyn Ruano was there. We had over 200 people. You know, if that's the way we have to do it again, then let's do it again. If it's not working in this town because it appears to be a party issue, let's do it where we did it last time. We had over 200 people. We had no standing room. We had to take out chairs. I have not met any blasting forum that Mr. Martinez has not had. So, to Councilwoman Marilyn Ruano, hey, if it's not working in the town, then let's go to PSN and do it there. You had over 200 people.
Thank you, Ms. Colon. It's true. You hosted a meeting in Country Club of Miami, and it was standing room only, and there were elected officials there that participated. Your presentation was wonderful.
And the media went, remember?
The media went as well. Absolutely, it was very well attended. I'm open to hosting these anywhere that we can, as long as the residents come. But we need to the message that we need to deliver to our neighbors and to our friends is that you need to be present because we need to show numbers. And maybe that's something that can be incorporated into the things that you do as a committee, that you spread the word and tell everyone. And Esther's right. If it's maybe more feasible to do it somewhere else, we'd be willing to attend wherever it is. I don't know if it's a Miami Lakes issue. I don't tend to think that it is. But wherever you guys are willing to host it, I'll be there.
What kind of reach can be done, being that it's coming from a town to another area? What is allowed and what's not? What are the limitations in that regard?
Miguel, if we're reaching out to the mayor of Miramar, which is a different county, reach out to our neighbors. What's the difference between Miramar and our neighbors, whether it's PSN, whether
That's
it's
what I'm
Hialeah Gardens? I mean, what's the difference?
That's what I'm asking. Can we go to Miramar and
We can collaborate. I remember that probably pre-COVID, we used to attend the blasting meetings in Miramar. Actually, the mayor designated a couple of the council members to attend the blasting meetings in Miramar so that we could collaborate. I met with Mayor Messam when we were putting together this committee to collaborate. There's strength in numbers, and there's a large unincorporated area that doesn't really have a municipality, so we can work together.
I was advised Mayor Messam was going to attend today.
He was
Through the
supposed
chair,
to.
I believe there are representatives from Miramar waiting to speak. Maybe we can allow them, our friends from Miramar, to say a couple words.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Mr. Collins has asked to address the committee.
Excellent. Welcome.
Mr. Collins is the Public Works Director from the city of Miramar.
Welcome. Welcome.
Good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Please speak up louder.
A little louder. Let me adjust my. So, Anthony Collins, the Public Works Director, City of Miramar.
Yeah, we can only hear you, sir. If you could please speak up.
I'm having some issue. Hang on 1 second. Let me adjust my one quick second. Let me. Any better? Can you hear me a little better now?
Now we can. It's excellent.
All right, I'm so sorry about that. I made an adjustment. So again, Anthony Collins, the Public Works Director of City of Miramar. Our Mayor Messam had requested that we foster a collaboration meeting with the Town of Miami Lakes Blasting Advisory Committee. We have sent a couple of emails to the town officials advising that our board members are currently in the process of being reinstated. Their term came to an end just a couple of days ago, and they are currently in the process of getting a new board reestablished. And then once that is done, we will foster a meeting so that we can have that collaboration that was referenced earlier on. So we've been listening in, and certainly Miramar is experiencing similar issues as it relates to blasting. So we're looking forward to that joint effort. And as you said, there's powers in numbers.
Excellent.
And we can forge a collaboration between the two.
When are you looking to reestablish your committee, sir?
There is a proposed item on the commission agenda for the May 5th meeting. So if everything goes according to plan, the selection, nominations will be made and the members will be selected. So in due course, in short order, we should have the committee back up in full swing.
Through the chair, Mr. Collins, thank you for attending. We really appreciate you. I believe the more we work together, the more we get done. As a Public Works Director, have you seen evidence of damage? Can you talk about perhaps something you've seen or any of your engineers have seen any blast damage resulting from the blasting? Any complaints you've seen from the residents of Miramar that are concrete that you can speak to?
We have received numerous complaints from our residents. I have not physically seen any damage because the damage is being done on private property, but we have been looking at the reports that we're getting from the Broward County Code Compliance Department, the environmental department that does the monitoring. The reading comes in every month. We have it as part of our public records. But to physically inspect property damage, and that will be outside of the public works purview, because that's, we're focusing on right away. But we have the information in terms of the readings, and the equipment are being monitored by Broward County on a periodic basis, and the report is available.
Thank you. Through the chair, Mr. Collins, do you have an idea of how many complaints have come in over the years, or at least this last, through COVID, this last year, from Miramar or business owners in the city of Miramar?
No, we don't. Right now, we don't physically track the complaints as they come in. That's probably something we could be looking to do going forward. But we do receive, calls from residents expressing their concerns from time to time. And of course, the blasting committee, they would meet and they would have conversations surrounding those issues.
Oh, thank you. And I would just ask if we can forward the link to be able to file official complaints, so you can get that process started in your town with your residents, and we can add to our residents and start making a dent and get the message heard. So I appreciate you coming out, and I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much, Mr. Collins.
You're most welcome.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, the feedback, and looking forward to working and collaborating with you guys. I think it's a pertinent issue, and it definitely strengthened numbers.
I totally agree.
Thank you. So getting back then to wrap up public comments, I think we have a few more people that wanting to say a few things. Anybody else?
Is there anyone else on the Zoom call that would like to make a public comment? Please unmute yourself and state your name.
This is Miriam Perret. I would just like to ask that the information that you guys are giving us here, and information on upcoming meetings and gatherings and whatnot, that information can get out to the residents a little bit easier. I coincidentally found out about this meeting, thought it was at 6 o'clock. At the last minute, got the Zoom link for 5 o'clock. So I haven't been getting a lot of the information, and I'm sure, like me, there's many others. So I'm willing to participate and to show force or show presence, actually, but I need to know when it's happening. So just some suggestions there.
As far as your timing, you're saying? You're saying about the timing?
I'm just saying in general, just getting the information out to the residents, whether there's a Facebook page or a link that we can submit the complaints to, anything that we can do to make ourselves present and to show that, to become more visible, I think would be very helpful.
It is posted on social media, several Facebook pages. There's a website for the Miami Lakes page.
It was in the Miami Laker.
Miami Laker. So quite a location.
I did not see it in the Miami Laker. I read it every time we receive it, and
And
if
you monitor the
small.
Miami Lakes website, you'll see it posted there.
That I will do going forward, but that's the information that I would like to see. So thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Hi, this is Maria Gonzalez. I think a lot of people just went ahead and they joined the Zoom meeting instead
sorry,
of
can
showing
you
up
speak
because
up?
at some point there were over 50 people on Zoom.
I'm sorry, can you speak up? The AC is loud here in the room, in the chambers.
Yes, I just want to say that I think a lot of people went ahead and joined via Zoom instead of showing up because at some point there were over 50 people joining through Zoom. So there was attendance via Zoom,
Okay.
just maybe not in person.
All right, well, that's
I
great.
have a suggestion. This is Angelica Velez. In lieu of not getting enough participants, why don't we get on the street? Why don't the neighbors get together and actively try to knock on every door or have signs in the popular areas on the weekend and attract visibility and, and urgency to the matter. We can do that as if it was a campaign.
That's what we're talking about, having a blasting day and having an event at a park of sort where information can be disseminated and we can meet the neighbors and make something negative into a positive where we can all talk, meet each other and get information out and show a show of force and unite. But we need participation. It's not a matter of wishful thinking that somebody else take care of this matter. We need people to show a force. I've been doing this for quite a number of years. That people that know me, and I've been doing this for a long time, and it's exhaustive. I could tell you that I'm getting tired. I don't have the support that's needed. People in Tallahassee know me. The state legislators know me. They know Adele DeVore, as Councilman Rana was mentioning. Two of us isn't enough. The members on this committee, I thank them daily, and I appreciate their efforts. But this isn't enough. We represent over 100,000 of people that are affected, and this is all you see. It's not enough. And that I hear last week alone that it's the mega mall going up is the blasting, and they're not even aware, and they ask where the mine is located. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. I was accused of working for the miners, by the way, so you guys know. I know too much, I was told. I said, really?
Hey, this is Peter Tomas. Just one suggestion. I think Miami Lakes, for the most part, maybe not all of it, but for the most part of the areas that are impacted, they're all HOAs or communities. And maybe one effective way to disseminate and get the information out is to maybe have informational presentations done to those HOAs when they meet once a month or whenever they meet. I belong to my HOA here, and I'm on the board of directors, and I would gladly spearhead, having, inviting you guys to one of our HOA meetings. But maybe that's also another avenue that you can pursue, is going through the HOAs.
Miguel, I would suggest that we share the video of your presentation with Mr. Tomas, and maybe he can share it with his HOA. It's on our YouTube channel, so it's there for anybody to see.
That'd be great. All right. Seeing at the time, we have only a few minutes left. I think we're going to have to table some items from the agenda regarding the statutes I wanted to review today. I know we have a few members of the... They were done. We only have a few minutes left, so...
Are we closing public comments? Is there anybody else?
This is Jorge Solis. Not sure if you can hear me. I'm a Miramar resident.
We can hear you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite. And then, congratulations to all the Miami Lakes town. I mean, I think that you are doing is great. And unfortunately, this problem does not affect just you guys. I think that it impacts a lot of us. I found about this meeting on social media, on Nextdoor specifically. And I hope that we can be more organized in Miramar so then we can merge efforts and count on me. I think that trying to do the same thing and then expecting different results, it is difficult. So I think we need to be more strategic. I think that you have some great ideas, and I offer my help to build a link with the Miramar residents. Obviously, we are putting together this group of people in Miramar, but I think that we just need to be very, very specific on what are the tasks that we need to focus on and what is what we are trying to accomplish, right? I mean, I think that we have too many efforts, which is great. One of those can be the silver bullet, but I think that if we can be very specific and we target HOAs or people or specific people in the community or specific people in Tallahassee that has the power to move the things forward, I think that that's something that we need to evaluate. So once again, congratulations and count on me.
Thank you. All right, that's it for public comments on? We'll close public comments now. We only have a few minutes left for the meeting. I wanted to put a motion to table addressing the statutes 55225 and 30. A motion for that? Thank you. I wanted to address quickly, there was a letter written by the Mayor, Manny Sid, to the President Biden. There was a lot of chatter regarding the letter because it addresses the issue of the Army Corps of Engineers. I need you all to realize that the Army Corps of Engineers initiates any permits regarding natural resource extraction. The study is initiated by the Army Corps of Engineers, and they're the ones that have to give the initial approval for any work that's being done. And that is the reason why Mayor Sid is asking to get readdressed. The previous chair, Dr. David Bennett, and myself have drafted a letter, whereas everybody affected can sign under it to basically a sister letter supporting the letter that Manny Sid has written in support of that to continue to be submitted alongside this request to the President of the United States to address the issue of what's going on. I'm not certain what is the best method that we get signatures to address this, to get this letter addressed and signed. And I don't know if you want to read it. You guys have read the letter from the mayor. If you want to read this real quick, you want to read it out loud so people can hear it.
Okay. The letter says, Dear President Biden, we, the undersigned, seek your help in a matter of vital importance to our community and surrounding communities of Miami Lakes. The issue to which I write has local, state, and national significance just west of the town of Miami Lakes and surrounding communities. Lime rock is being quarried. This means extraction is blasting deep within the strata known as the Biscayne Aquifer. The blasting is causing significant damage to our homes and businesses. Just a little background, if we may. In the year 1999, a small group of citizens sued the rock miners in a class action lawsuit for damages to their homes. Although it provided small relief to a handful of people, the settlement never resolved the bigger issue, eliminating the destructive blast waves that are destroying the surrounding properties. The rock miners threatened with further lawsuits, lobbied successfully to transfer local control of rock mining to our state capital in Tallahassee. This rendered those directly affected by blasting powerless to regulate nor receive just compensation for damages caused by the actions of the neighboring rock mines. In 2003, another lawsuit brought before the Honorable Judge Holvor was demonstrated that the blasting was contaminating our potable water supply in and around the Everglades National Park due to benzene found in the ammonium nitrate fuel oil used to blast the lime rock. He issued a scathing 176 written opinion stating that this court has never seen a federal agency respond so indifferently to clear evidence of significant environmental risk. While Judge Holvor did suspend blasting for a while, his ruling was rendered moot while the Army Corps of Engineers lifted the ban. Although it would appear that the mining industry is highly regulated, the fact that the local strata is compromised of the Biscayne Aquifer and the water carries the energy wave with little decay. This has not been studied. The impact of the energy wave is being felt miles away from the blast locations. Similar seismic damage is being witnessed through tens of thousands of homes throughout the community and surrounding areas. As I'm sure you're aware, having served with retired Senator Bob Gran, this committee established Senator Gran's family has always been quiet, patriotic community that merely wishes for the peaceful lifestyle to include the enjoyment of our homes. Mr. President, we humbly seek your assistance in bringing an end to the destruction of our homes, our businesses, and our communities. More importantly, we do understand that limestone is a necessary component to achieve success in the infrastructure bill you are placing before the people. However, there are less destructive methods that can be utilized that would reduce both the intensity and frequency of this collaterally destructive act. Sincerely, Miguel Martinez and Dr. David Bennett.
Through the chair, well, it's a good idea. That is a dissertation, and residents are not going to read all that, and residents are not going to sign that.
That what?
It's just too long. So we have to find a happy media and kind of make that a third. People will not read all that, and nor will they understand it.
Sure, but that's the problem. People continue to remain devoid of the knowledge of what's going on. And do we accept that?
Through the chair, I felt that that letter was very well written. It gave an incredible history of what the issue is, what's been done, and what the ask is for the future, especially now with the infrastructure bill coming up. I think that would actually educate any person who has never heard of the issue. I find it to be, that's something I would support. I second the motion. I'll put a motion forward to send that letter. I think it was very well written, and it succinctly summarized what the struggle is. So I support this letter 100%.
Ray, who are we going to send it to? Through the chair, Raymond, who are we going to send the letter to? Is the town going to disseminate it through the town website, or is the board responsible to obtain signatures?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We're talking about that blasting day that Angela was talking about. There's a new, every week, there's at least 1,000 people that come by the new farmer's market. Perhaps we can put a tent up if the town would help us with that budget, and we could start collecting signatures. Taking it to the top, taking it to the federal government, I think will open up a lot of eyes and maybe get us that media coverage that we need. So, one more tool in the toolbox to get this done. But that letter I find that letter to be perfect to describe our situation. So that's one idea, but we can discuss it, of course. But I think that was very well written. So.
Yeah, the intent is to provide background knowledge and information so that people can understand what's going on at the higher level, at the federal level. Everybody was questioning as to why and what was the reason, and this explains it. So this gives a brief history and timeline of the reasons for it, so you can understand it. That was the intent of it, and obviously giving the support to get at a federal line. If the legislative side at the Tallahassee level is not working, we need a different angle.
For the chair, I agree 100%.
So
That still leaves us with the question, where are we getting the signatures and how?
well, I guess the first, do we accept the letter?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
You second?
Yes.
Get a voter. Yes. Yes.
All right.
Accept the letter.
So then the next question comes, where to get the signatures? And that's the next hurdle.
Through the chair, we were working already with the town, putting together a survey. Perhaps we should pivot from that survey and just ask their support on getting this letter out there through the website and through the social media and electronically get signatures.
Can we post the letter electronically and just have digital signatures that people just sign
That'll
their
be
name
great.
to it?
That'll be great.
Yes,
as easy as it can
electronic
be.
signatures is the way to go.
Yeah,
We have to simplify this as maximum.
right. Rudimentary.
Yes, agreed.
So I think we could talk to the town, the IT department then at that stage.
Well, I know the town had some reservations about what their limits can do. Perhaps the town's assistant attorney could speak to that. Is that something that would be something the town would be able to do legally? Support us on that? Through the chair?
I'm sorry, say it again?
No, I just wanted to, through the chair, ask the town assistant attorney if this is something the town would be willing to support or legally can do. Help us get electronic signatures on this letter through the town websites, media sites, social media. Is that something that he sees any issues with?
I think we can request to council for that, for the approval on that.
I mean, I can answer that question if you'd like, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure that it's so much a legal issue as it is a technology issue, so we'd have to check with our IT department and see if that's something that's feasible for us to collect. That's on one part. Second of all, we're talking about the letter that you just read, right? That we want to send to the president. Yeah, I think that would be fine. We just need to check with our, again, our IT department to see if it's something feasible and how we can collect those signatures.
And approval from council, right?
That too, yes.
Yeah. And Miguel, you have an opportunity May 11th to address the council for this request.
Okay. All right. I think we have to wrap this up now, 7 o'clock?
Yeah, you have like 10 minutes.
We have a few minutes left? All right.
Through the chair, can you give us an update on our survey that was approved in the prior meeting? And can you try to get information on the blasting day for us that was also approved last meeting?
The survey regarding, we were getting information from each town, each municipality, that we had directive to different members as far as different municipalities who would be on board.
No. The motion was a survey from the residents. A survey did go out, but it didn't incorporate a question of blasting.
Okay, I don't have information on that.
Raymond, do you recall you second? Oh, I made the
Yes.
motion, but then I let you make it and I second you.
Yes, through the chair, I've been working with the town on that, getting that survey. I think there was an issue with being able to detail the location of where the survey responders lived in Miami Lakes. I know we talked about maybe putting a map together. And I believe I'm still working with the assistant attorney on that and Claricel to get that going. Would you like to speak to that, Claricel, where we are in that process?
Sure. The request was to create a map and pinpoint the different addresses that had called in with a blasting complaint. Now, when I spoke to our deputy town attorney, because that would become a public record, there would seem to be an issue with that, but I'll let him explain his thoughts.
You know, anything that you do as a survey like that, and you're asking for certain information from residents with regards to their house, with regards to all that issue, I mean, you have to be cognizant that it becomes a public record. That's not something that can be redacted, so somebody can ask for it, whether it be the minors, if they wish to find that information, or someone else, and easily obtain it. So, can you do a survey? Sure, but you have to be very careful as to the information that you're collecting.
Through the
What if we
chair.
what if we do it privately, Lorenzo? Like on our own? What if we do it privately, like on our own? Instead of, through the government or something like that, or through the local
What you do outside of these four walls is up to you. I mean,
Okay.
Well, through the chair, I just want to ask, if we remove that functionality from the survey and add maybe do the survey but not ask for that specific information, and we don't have to map anything that makes it easier to go through. I mean, there's Survey Monkey. We can do a Survey Monkey, right, and do a basic thing. But we wanted to work with the town and see whatever you feel we can do, keep it simple, right? KISS, keep it simple to get to start getting some data in there, and even perhaps add that letter with the electronic signature, just one place where they can go and get this done. We can start collecting data, also get some signatures as well. And anything whatever you feel comfortable with, what the town can provide, IT wise and also legally, we'll take at this point. I mean, it's a little too late now because honestly, that the bill wasn't even brought up. It didn't even get past committee. But
Through the chair to
May
the
I?
deputy town attorney, isn't the digital signature subject to public record also?
Sure.
Thank you.
What about if there was some sort of questionnaire that
Yeah.
was not really specific as far as the address or location, but more so anonymous of have you experiencing shakes? Are you a
Yeah.
resident of Miami Lakes? Yes or no? And that's it.
Miguel,
Very
if,
generic.
if I may say something, the CFO has put some resources behind a website that is obtaining complaints on blasting. I feel like if the town does a separate survey or a separate thing, you're taking away from what can ultimately really make some noise. So what I would do is put your efforts to promote that, not creating something else that maybe residents can get confused. Well, I already signed that. I don't want to do something else. And in reality, they're not really signing the CFO's, going to the CFO's website and doing the formal complaint.
The problem with the CFO's website is it's more of an analog system. So you have to download a PDF file, print it, or print out the file, fill it out, scan it, and upload it. So it's very cumbersome. I wonder if can we piggyback a website that populates the CFO's website, kind of adding a service, if you will, to simplify that. So can that be done? It's a technology task, if anything.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that.
Through the chair, has the town done any surveys in the past through their website or at all, ever on any other subject? I'm sure they have, I just can't think
Yeah,
of it right now.
we've used SurveyMonkey and
Can we just do that? SurveyMonkey, keep it simple, don't ask specifics. And I know what you're saying, but Miguel is right. I mean, I'm sorry, Chairman Martinez is correct. The state is using 1990s PDFs, having printed out, signed. I mean, who has access to a scanner for the most part? From most people working from home right now. So I understand what you're saying, Clara. So absolutely, you don't want to confuse people. But just another thing to have to say, hey, look, we got if we get 200 or 300 of these with
there's
people,
form
is
fillers.
great. It's a great universe to have. But yeah, I know we talked about this been a month and a half
You
already.
work for
So
WellCare.
just getting something out there, I think, would be good.
You
A
work
little
for
momentum.
WellCare.
Awesome.
The 1500 form to fill out. You know what I'm talking about. The 1500 form to fill out for insurance. There's form fillers software that fills out that 1500 form. And that's what I'm talking about. If we create a website, an app that just to fill out this form, and so it's just a courtesy, if you will, to use the CFO's website. It's not. You still have to populate it. You're populating yourself. It's just. It's a simple app.
Miguel, that makes sense because when we have a complaint with the town, we have an app on our phone, and if there's a crack on the sidewalk, you take a picture, it pins the location, and it gives the information to the town.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it's just a
form
matter
filler.
of taking a picture.
Right.
And it can be anonymous. You don't have to put your name on it.
Right. It's a form filler.
And they already have that in place.
Right. But this would redirect it to the CFO's site.
Yeah, that would require an API, and that can get very complicated and very costly. I thought Representative Fabricio had mentioned he was doing something with those emails that that you were going to provide him?
Well, the emails already gone through, and it's a different animal. And the emails is just showing volume of numbers that we're talking about. This is an actual complaint to the CFO, and the CFO's site has a specific date of when it started, and that's what they're logging.
Claricel, I'm just saying, if you put another other, like right now it says sidewalk, trees, if you put another that says blasting, we capture that information and we send that information to the CFO.
Right.
It's just adding a category. The technology is in place.
It's
So,
done already. You have
just
it.
But
add-
it won't, what you're saying is fine, and we can look into that, but it won't populate into the CFO's website.
No, but if we capture the data, we can transmit the data to the CFO and to Rizzo and Fabricio, because it's a matter of capturing data and the technology is in place, just putting another link that says another category for blasting. And I'm sure many people will do that. When they hear it shaking, they'll
Yeah.
be pressing that other blasting.
I think it would simplify things tremendously.
I wanted to address something that Esther said, if I could, really just a quick blurb. Just, and so everybody's aware, the issue of doing anonymous complaints, that's gone away this year. As of July 1st, 2021, anonymous complaints are no longer allowed to be filed with the city. You gotta state your name and put your information.
Lorenzo, when did that change? I just saw an anonymous complaint
Just
filed
happened today.
last week.
It comes into effect 7/1/2021.
July 1, 2021. Well, we're not there yet because I just saw a couple filed.
I know, it just passed the Senate.
Right, because, well, we have till July, so we can get something done.
All right. Okay, so I think it's been a
Just
day.
make the request when you go in front of council to add a blasting tab to the town's mobile app, and we'll go from there.
And the data gets collected to be submitted. I think it's a great idea.
Yep.
Just
All right.
one more thing on that. I think we got to push, and people need to push the representatives to make that website, 21st century compliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we don't see progress in a month, we just got to call him. Representative Fabrizio said call him. We should call him and say,
Yeah.
hey, update that website.
I don't
Yeah.
know what kind of action they have since the end of sessions now. What kind of movement can they do? I don't know.
I mean, it's calling the IT department of the CFO and saying, let's get your website compliant. I don't know who thought the way they did it was a good idea. Maybe it's just the first
Yes.
step.
Agreed.
If it's as simple as downloading a form, filling it out, and then uploading it, I mean, we can have copies here at Town Hall, and your phone is actually a scanner. If you all don't know that, and we can provide a tutorial on our website or on social media, so that people know how to, when you can pick up a form here, fill it out, and scan it at home, or.
I just think somebody like my father who gets excited that when you try and teach him how to send an email and he's excited that he got the computer to turn on. There's a big
Miguel, you're
difference.
right. There are 25 seniors in my HOA that we have to hand deliver
Yeah.
the envelope to, because sometimes when we put it in the U.S. mail, it's 2 weeks and they still haven't received it, and that's at the HOA. They will not use a computer, nor will they use these phones.
Right.
They still have a flip phone.
He's still,
Thank
my
you.
father.
Well,
All
maybe
right.
we should
Miguel?
ask the council, ask the council to print out forms and have some in town hall, and maybe there's a way to distribute those forms out, like through the Miami Lake, or.
I think that'll be an endeavor that's pretty pretty heavy. Because it's not just a matter of delivering it. They have to fill it out, and then you have to
Right.
pick it up, scan it, and submit.
But at least they have the form at the beginning. Maybe the town could scan them and submit them for them.
Right.
They fill them out.
I think we need more thought into this, and to oversimplify it, and we need some sort of genius idea that one of those why didn't I think this before ideas to get this working. But I think the idea of using the app, since it's already established, it's just a matter of modifying it a little bit. I think that'd be the easiest way to get a majority for the effect, the ROI, as it were.
Miguel, can I put in a word before we close?
I'm sorry?
Can I put in a word before we close? Can you please remind Representative Fabricio and Rizzo, that I think they have a couple of more days before they end the session. Is that?
Tomorrow.
Next week.
Tomorrow?
Next week.
So they've got 20. Will you remind them of what I told them about? I don't know if we're too close and we're on a deadline for them to send somebody from DOT to check that bridge. Would that be something?
Supposedly, the DOT has checked the bridges already. I have my doubts, to be honest with you. Those bridges were designed for cows.
Yeah,
They were
we
not meant
talked
for
about that.
traffic, and they have rescue vehicles, what they're being earmarked for now. When you have a fire truck loaded with water going over that at a high rate of speed, people don't realize that the wind, as vehicles travel under that bridge for 30 years that it's been, the wind alone generated by the cars vibrate the bridges, never mind the blasting. So these things have been sitting there forever unused, and you stand on the bridge, you'll feel the vibration.
Would you remind them tomorrow morning?
We should, as just a reminder, a recommendation by the Blasting Advisory Board. I'll pen a letter for that. All right. So I think I guess that concludes for today. It's
Hey,
been
Chairman Martinez, just one quick thing. I don't know, I can send you the form. I converted that PDF to Microsoft Word to make it
Okay.
easier to submit. I think it's easier to do it if you can type it up and then email that form. Makes it simpler as opposed to having to handwrite it and scan it. But I think the ideal situation is what I suggested to Representative Fabrizio is making that form online so people can type it in online. But I'll share with you, and then if you can disseminate that form, it's just a Word form now that people can type up and send every time they have an issue. And the good thing is that you can just reuse the same form. All you have to do is basically change the date.
That'll be great. Maybe we can make post it somewhere where it'd be easily accessible. Maybe through the town's website, have a link to it or something. Google Docs or something.
Absolutely. I posted it on Nextdoor, but I'll share it with you, and then we can figure out how we share that form with the other.
That'll be
community
excellent.
members.
Thank you so much. All right, so I guess that concludes today, 4/29,
Have a
2021.
motion to adjourn?
So we're gonna have a motion
Second.
to adjourn for conclusion for today.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, that's it.
Adjourn.
Second.
Do you have a motion? Thank you. So that concludes today for April 29, 2021.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Take care, guys.
Can everyone hear me? Who's on Zoom?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Hector. How are you?
All right, how about you?
Good. All right, we're going to give it a few more minutes to see if anyone else joins us either in person or in Zoom. Phone number 305-558-5270. Can you please identify yourself?
Esperanza Reynolds.
I'm sorry?
Esperanza Reynolds.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Chairperson
Hey.
Panetta. Hi, how are you?
You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Red's ring anytime you want. Well, they may need to know too. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Hi, Chair. How are you?
Good, good, good. How's everybody
Good.
doing?
So whenever you're ready, we have
Okay.
quorum, so you are more than welcome to start.
Hi, Emily. How are you? Hi, everybody. Emily, you want to take roll?
Yes, I'll go right now.
Hector Abad,
I'm here.
Jaylene Garcia, Present. Emily Garcia, present. Mario Pineda,
Present.
Jessica Mendoza,
Present.
and Kevin
Sorry.
Matthews. That's okay.
Kevin's here, present.
You have quorum.
Okay, perfect. Moving on. Order of business, deferrals, additions, deletions. Do we have any? I'm gonna add to the new business, old business actually, item, D would be banners. Graduation banners. Do you have a second?
On the what, you said again, under 6 or 7?
Under old business?
6D?
60.
Okay, so I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The ayes have it. Moving on. Any public comments? Public comments?
Esperanza Reynolds.
Go ahead, Esperanza.
Okay, I think it was in February, I asked if it was possible to obtain copies of the curriculum. I looked through the website and couldn't find it. It's just that there seems to be a lot of parents very concerned about what kids are being taught in school. And now that Governor DeSantis has put a ban on certain topics or whatever. So I just want to know if the group, since you guys know the principals and you talk to them, if you can find out how we can get copies of the curriculum taught at Miami Lakes Schools.
The curriculum is online. You need to just put in www. And it's actually at the portal. You can go into the portal as a community member, and the curriculum pacing guide is on there. I teach. I looked it up the last time that you mentioned it. I was looking
for the. I give you my email. Can you send me the link?
Yes, I was looking actually for it because I wrote it down for you because I was searching, and I know that if you go to you went to dateschool.net?
I'm just not sure how to navigate that. So
okay.
It's Hope R295.
Okay, one second.
Esperanza. You're gonna have to give that email to Elizabeth, and then Jessica, you would have to get that information. And Jessica.
Okay, so we'll go through
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth is she's on here in the meeting. She's the
she's a liaison.
Liaison for the town.
Oh, okay. Well, everybody in the town knows my email, but okay. So maybe I'll just send it to the clerk, and the clerk can somehow give it to you.
Perfect. That would work as well.
Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you.
All right, good night.
But Jessica, you're gonna take care of sending the link to
yeah. Last time
Elizabeth or
I
whoever.
checked, it's right. It's on the dateschools.net. I mean, community members can get the pacing guide.
Right.
And, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I
And
mean, worst case scenario, I think she mentioned that Bob Graham at our last meeting or 2 meetings ago. So maybe the principal can always reach out to her. If
right. Mm-hmm.
I do. Jessica's correct about the curriculum. It is on the portal. Each school might do something different. I'm not sure. I know that Hector and Jessica would be the ones to ask about that. They're the ones in the school system. So, Jessica, does it vary from school to school, or
no? Every teacher has the right to elaborate or work on the content as they please, but the basis of it has to be the core. For example, if it's going to be immigrants coming to America, you need to teach that subject. Now, whether you want to teach it from the book, whether you want to teach it from the videos, whether you want to teach it from people coming in and speaking about it or having speakers, it's up to you how creative you want to be. But yes, everybody has to follow certain guidelines.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. Any other public comments? Seeing none. Okay, moving on. Approval of minutes. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at the minutes? If not, go ahead and take a look.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the March 15th meeting.
Second, Daleen.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Have it. Moving on to old business. Update on Centauri impact fee allocation. So as you know, we went to the council to try to, I would say, rescue the $100,000 that we had originally allocated to the schools after everything was approved. We had the chance to get that money back and proceed with that project. As of right now, the only project that is approved is the Miami Lakes Middle project. The only hurdles that we're having for that one is that we need to find it in the minutes for it to have a clearer clarification, and then the check will be printed. But that's the only project that is approved for right now. As for the other projects, I've been told that they want to give the principals a clear clarification of what is going to be permitted and not permitted. What I was told that Lorenzo was going to get back to Claricel. Lorenzo has not gotten back to
Chair,
Claricel.
if I can just interrupt 1 minute because, 1 moment. Lorenzo did get back to Claricel actually in the previous meeting, and he gave us the opinion. I have it right here. So she told me to let you all be informed that they're going to review the opinion, and we'll get back to you guys.
Okay, perfect. So as you know, we haven't moved forward then with the principals because they want to get clarification to them on what is accepted, is not accepted. So in doing so, that means that none of the other schools have gone back to us on what their needs going to be. The only project that we have in the air right now for approval is the one for Barbara Goldman. But again, we're waiting for Lorenzo and for them to discuss that.
So Mario, when you said the minutes, the Miami Lakes and the minutes, and we're waiting for them, what minutes are we talking about? Council meetings or our minutes?
Council meeting minutes, correct.
Okay.
So I believe that what is her name? I forget now.
Gina?
Gina is working on that, correct. Gina's working on that. I will get back to you. I will get on the phone tomorrow with both Lorenzo and Gina to see if we can move that along. Okay. As far as the principals, like I said, we're waiting for Lorenzo. Once we get that, I'll try to push it as hard as I can for us to get it to the next meeting. I would hope and wish that we could get the $10,000 to Miami Lakes Middle so they could use it for at least for the graduation. That would be something that would be great. So I would do my best to try to get that going as far as communication with Gina and doing that. So I was told that we just have to find the minutes and the check will be given to them.
All right, so then Miami Lakes Middle was approved, because you said Barbara Goldman, but it's Miami Lakes Middle's sound system, right?
Correct, that is approved.
Right, because we're still waiting then. Obviously, the principals didn't know that what they need to present to us, so that's what they need to do so that we can, and I'm sure they'll have something creative that they'll say it's.
Well, I'm sure. So Miami Lakes Middle was always the one that the council always said that met the criteria.
Right,
Goldman
that's the only one, right?
Goldman's request is something that they wanted to look deeper into. Remember, we're talking about how heavy it was, and if it had to be bolted. So they wanted to do some research on it. I don't know where that stands, but that was Goldman's request. The other schools that wanted technology and computers, that's the one
Right,
that
that
they said
wasn't
that you had to come back.
That's not going to be accepted.
Right.
Okay, do we have any other questions on, I want to thank everybody for the hard work they did on that. We definitely, I think we did a good thing, trying to get that money back, and it's going to a good cause. These schools, with the whole COVID situation, it's new times, and I think the principals need that money to accommodate some of these needs that the students want. Not necessarily what the school board might need, but the school students' needs.
Right.
So I'm proud that we were able to get that going again. So thank you.
I'm just going to say this because obviously we need to make some sort of stellar comment, right? So I personally, I am proud of you guys. I am proud of Mario. I appreciate the fact that you went to council with me multiple times. I'm not ashamed to say, listen, guys, we need to advocate for our kids, for our schools. I think that's what this board is about. If you were to ask me, I still say that the whole $300,000 should be within the EAB.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that debate as to how it came, I think that predated us. But I believe we all, since we've been on the board, we've always dealt with this issue, right? But nonetheless, it's $100,000. It does save us a little bit of face with the principals. We did, talk to the principals. We worked hard, guys. For almost a year, we've been talking to principals. And I do think it will benefit a lot of the kids. I personally, appreciate the fact that Councilman Alvarez and Councilman Rodriguez, who originally were part of those people who voted to move the money away, reconsidered, that they brought the item back up. So I am grateful to them. Again, I wish we could do more for our schools, but I'm very happy. And in a way, like I said, I think even with this, we're going to make a major, major impact in our schools.
I agree with you, Hector.
If I can interrupt, the clerk is asking me what minutes are you guys waiting for, so I can tell her.
I believe it must be in January, correct me if I'm wrong, Hector. In January, we reported to council on our report, and the only project that was approved when we brought it to them was the Miami Lakes Middle project. It was actually one of the ones that they choose to be as an example. From what I was told to Claricel, they need that. They need to go back to the minutes to get that clear. So I believe it was January or February, right, Hector?
Yeah, it must have been January 26th, because I was the one who went that month to council. And then February you went. So I want to say January 26th, but it was definitely January.
If you went on January, it had to be on February, because when I presented it, it was when they accepted the.
Right.
Okay, I will tell her, and if she has any other questions, I will let you guys know.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Okay, moving on. Future Bond Miami Kindergarten Savings Account. As you know, the mayor presented this project to us, the Kindergarten Savings Account. We did some research on it. The way the city structures it is not perhaps the way that the town wants to move forward with it. Their suggestion is we keep it in-house in Miami Lakes with one of the banks here locally. Fortunately, we have one of the banks that has agreed to join up in this project. They will match any contribution that a parent deposits into the account up to $25. So Bank United has their headquarters here, so they will be willing to do this project with us. It's I don't know what you guys think. It's something that would be just for Miami Lakers for now.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that what it was for though? Just for Miami Lakers, or was it going to be open?
Before the way that the way that the program was structured is that it was $25 for children and $50 for children on reduced lunch. Then that money had to come out from the town. The town had to invest into the fund. Now that money would be put into the South Florida Educational Credit Union, and they would be the ones that manage the account, not a local bank within Miami Lakes.
Oh, so that's what's changing is the bank, actually. I mean, it's still for the town of Miami Lakes children, right?
Correct.
Just right.
But it won't be done through the portal or the Miami-Dade Public Schools portal or anything. We would have to see how we could set it up. Maybe they link on the Town of Miami Lakes website, or the parents would have to go into the bank and from there. So we would have to figure out the details with Bank United. But definitely something that moving forward, that I think it's a great idea for kindergartens. I mean, $25 for the bank, $25, that's $50 as a kindergarten. If you keep on building on that, by the time you get to your senior year, you have something to look forward to. So definitely something that I will get with Claricel on how we could put this maybe going forward on some kind of platform.
Maybe we have to meet with Bank United
Correct.
sometime.
Let's see how we meet with them and see what their ideas moving forward will be.
Okay.
Okay, any questions on that? Okay, moving forward, update on the Future Leader Scholarship, the grant companies. I believe the deadline is coming up, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Elizabeth?
The deadline is May 28th, but I'm actually pulling it up as we speak, just to make sure. We've gotten inquiries about when the deadline is. We've been pushing it out, but no one has applied. But then again, Claricel always mentions they always like to apply last minute. But no inquiry, just inquiries for now. But let me tell you guys the deadline.
Now, do you know, Elizabeth, do you know if this has been put out on social media?
It has been put out on social media. I've inputted on the newsletter. It's actually going out in the newsletter in April. I already have a little banner for it. So we've been pushing it out on all of our social media platforms. The deadline is May 10th. So we'll see, but we've been pushing it out as much as we can.
Okay. Perhaps we could get an email to all the members again, and then we could all maybe push it through our social media as well.
Mm-hmm.
I can do an email blast if you guys want. I've put it in the newsletter, but that's among you. I mean, on a marketing social media standpoint, I can also do an email blast to apply to the Graham scholarships. Again, it's however you guys decide as well, how you want to maybe market it a little bit more.
I mean, an email blast would be great. I'm sure that makes some attention. I don't know what the rest of the group thinks.
I mean, I think, like for the banners, if there's something on social media that we can share, or maybe something you can send to us and then we can post it on our social media, because I know a lot of people scroll through that at night, kids scroll, I mean.
So we're gonna release the newsletter in April shortly. I wanna say next week. We always release it in the beginning of the month, and that goes to over 13,000 subscribers. So I can forward it to the committee, and there's a little banner right on top, and it says Graham Scholarships, and then when they click it, it'll take you right to the press release, and then all the information is there. So you can forward that to your respective peers, and then you guys can promote it.
Right, because it's odd. By now, I think we would have already had a couple of applications. Even last year with COVID, I think there was some. By now, we're at the end of April.
Yeah, but it's still a month away, so.
I would have thought we would have at least 2 or 3 by now.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
To have none, that's surprising. Okay. Any other questions on the scholarships? Okay, moving on to new business. Oh, sorry, old business D. The graduation banners, actually. We have some great news on that. We did, I believe, Elizabeth, I think the number was 78?
75
75 banners. So that was...
How many did we have last year? I forgot.
I believe we had around 100.
Okay. And when's the deadline for the banners again?
The deadline was actually April 28th, yesterday. So this morning I closed it. I closed the responses, and I've been starting the proofs already.
Okay.
We want to get it installed.
It's not a bad number for
We want to get it installed, and we've been pushing it out. So we had an email blast for it. We put in the newsletter, a couple of our newsletters when we, I think 2 newsletters it was there. And then Brandon was also pushing it on social media.
I saw that.
So that's a great response. We have a lot of college and high school, so a lot more people were very, very enthusiastic. So I'm starting the proofs. I actually started them today and looking through the images. We hope to get it installed on Memorial Weekend. So we still have some time to get the proofs in and everything. So great turnout with that.
Okay, thank you so much, Elizabeth. Okay, moving on to new business. The next item is Yearly Award of Excellence. This item was brought to you by Daylene. Daylene, do you want to elaborate a little bit on it?
Hi guys. So yes, basically this was an idea that came to me after carefully just researching the awards that are given within our local schools. And I just thought that maybe we can bring something different to our town, that we can recognize the students in our community, the students in our local schools, but under sort of different categories. For example, in the art, aspiring authors, difference makers, helping hand award, sportsmanship, locally advocate, those that want to, let me see, excellence in science. I mean, we have different categories that we can choose from. The whole idea is that we do something similar that the cultural fair does, in the sense of with the Woman Distinction Award. So basically what they do is they open up the award categories and they bring it to on social media. They post it, the town posts it, and then local teachers, administrators, mentors, coaches, organizations can go online in our town website and simply just nominate these kids based on the categories that we will be offering. This will be at no cost to the town, and we can find local sponsors that can help us out with this. It's just recognizing the kids in all of our local schools, not based on an actual grade, but more in the category itself. If you guys kind of understand what I'm saying. I would like to maybe speak on this more if we can actually discuss on setting up a subcommittee where we can choose the categories, go over everything that has to do with getting this done, and you know, the award ceremony being done more towards like the end of the school year. So I don't know. I mean, I would like your input in reference to this.
Okay, thank you, Jalene. I think it's a great idea. A few questions. The categories, obviously we'd figure out the categories, sportsmanship, let's say, you know, most community service, things like that, right?
Correct.
And then my other question, is this open only to, do you want to open only to like seniors or to every single grade? You know,
I think it would be best if it's open to every grade from elementary, middle, and high school in different categories.
Okay, okay. But for instance, if we do, let's say the best sportsmanship student, right? Do we do one per grade, or is just the one within the town that fits that best category? Whoever gets the most votes for that category.
I think one in elementary, one in middle, and one in high school.
Okay, okay.
I'm sorry, I'm having like issues listening to you guys. You get cut off every once in a while.
Okay. I definitely like the idea. Does I mean, we definitely have a lot of talented kids within the town.
So I'm all for it. My only concern is that if we're gonna do subcommittees, right, to create the categories, that may take a couple of weeks for us to meet. And then we would have to meet again to come up with, you know, a final plan. So if it's gonna be an end of the year thing, it might be kind of late to, you know what I'm saying?
Correct. Okay, so maybe then we wouldn't have to create a subcommittee. We can just do it as a board, you know, as a whole. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's even better, you know, all of our ideas coming together to create something new for the EAB and be able to recognize the students as a town. Not, you know, normally every school recognizes their student based on science, academics, sports, and so on. In this case, we will be doing it as a town, and all of our schools will be coming together under one.
And how will we recognize them? Is this something we're gonna do like an event or?
Certificate.
certificate, and that can be presented either at town hall. We can discuss. There's many options that we can do. The good part about this is, you know, it wouldn't be costing the town anything. We can find sponsors, and it's something different that we can bring up to, you know, as an EAB to the town, and I think it would be a great event.
No, I agree. It sounds great. Sorry to interrupt. But I am with Hector on the fact that we meet only once a month. And then we'd meet in May, which would be already very late, because we'd have to, like you said, set up the categories, then have to choose. So we need to get nominees and then choose from those nominees. I feel like it's a little bit of a process to get it done before the end of the school year. I don't know.
Definitely something we could do for next year.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm just bringing up the idea. Doesn't mean that we have to do it now.
For this year,
It's
right.
just
Okay.
simply something that would be great just to start thinking of and working on it and then bring it up for next year.
Definitely. Perfect.
I want to chime in because we're part of a couple organizations. I think I brought it to Hector's attention when I first started. The city of Hialeah does a similar type gala, award ceremony, and they invite all the schools from the city. We could do the same in the town. And then we could even have special awards for principal of the year or, assistant principal of the year.
Love that.
But you could do, every school would be in charge of, the organization I belong to, the ISSF, Gulliver, Palmer, Trinity, there's a few of us part of it. It's all based on character and academic achievement. But every school basically picks 3 students to highlight. We could leave it up, we could set up the criteria and let every school decide what students they want to honor on that night and make it a gala. And like Dave says, I love the way she's headed with the sponsors. We could really make it an opportunity for local businesses to get involved, and they could really they could payroll the whole thing.
Excellent. Love that idea.
Yeah, it's like the one that they do for the special needs in the Roberto Alonso Community Center, that they fix it up, they make it look nice and pretty, and they have their gala there. We can do the same.
Correct.
Okay.
You can
Love the
guys
idea.
even get
I'm all for it.
economic
I know we're a little
development.
late in the game for this school year, but for next school year, it'd be a great idea.
Elizabeth?
Yes, and you guys even, like Kevin mentioned, local businesses, you guys even can get possibly economic development committee involved as well.
Right.
With the
That's fantastic.
sponsorships and what they're doing now with their goal in local businesses, so that could be a possibility as well. Just a thought.
Okay, so let's go ahead and add it to the agenda for next month on the basis of that we will each come up with at least 3 categories that we want to put on there, and then we'll move forward from just picking the categories we want. That way we get that out the way. That gives us a chance to work on getting some sponsors and moving forward with that,
But I would like to
Sounds
hear what
great.
Kevin has, whatever categories Hialeah uses.
Correct.
It would be good
Yeah,
if we
I
could
can, I
see-
can forward that to you guys. I mean, it runs the gamut for them, but obviously we can customize it to whatever we want to do. But I think it's a missed opportunity. I think we should have an opportunity at night to recognize all the different schools.
Right.
And it'll bring us closer. It'll be a network opportunity for us to meet with those principals as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Kevin.
No, thank
Kevin,
you.
if you could get that information to.
I can give it to you. Yeah, I have it. I actually was with the mayor of Hialeah 2 days ago, so. So
Yeah,
I
you
can,
did
I can
young
get the
people,
information.
pastor, correct?
Yeah. So so
That was beautiful. That was
that
good
was
job.
awesome. Thank you.
Okay, great. So then we will add it to the agenda for next month. Definitely something that we could all get behind us and get excited about. So we'll definitely look forward. Moving on, we have the 2021, 2022 EAB budget. Okay, we don't have to pick a budget right now, but we definitely on our next meeting have to square that off on where we want to set our goals at. So definitely be thinking about that for next meeting. We didn't use a lot of our money this year for certain things. I
Can we
believe.
request that it be transferred over to next year?
but we can make that request. I know we didn't use the Dolly Parton money that we had, things like that. So we definitely have to look at our budget and what we plan to do for next year.
So please just, can you guys, like, whenever you send the agendas and the minutes, can that be an attachment for next month, the actual budget, so we can have something to look at?
Yes, Elizabeth, I'm sure that you could get that out to us for next meeting, correct?
Correct, and Clarissa will get that out to you.
Perfect. Other than that, we're moving on to announcements. Any other announcements?
You know, I don't know if this is an announcement, but I wanted to say something. So it seems to me that with all this money issue, right, that happened, which I think is actually a blessing that we're getting past that, our board is incomplete. You know, we're missing one member. I know Jacqueline Baquer had resigned. I really haven't been much in touch with her, but I do believe it was related to this whole issue and this whole controversy. So I do not know where we stand on it as far as a replacement. I don't know if anybody's applied, but I would hope that, you know, that, I don't know, the council or whoever you guys do that process, that they will reconsider reaching out to her and see if she's interested in coming back. You know, sometimes we make decisions impulsively. Again, I do not know her thinking or you know, the full details, but I think she was an asset to this board. You know, she was a strong advocate. She was always there. She was somebody reliable. So, like I said, I would hope that the council, as they look into filling that position, that they at least try to reach out to her, see if it's something that she still wants to stay, you know, resigning her position like she did, or if it's something that she would be interested in coming back. That's the only comment I have.
Definitely. I did speak to Jackie, and she was highly upset at the situation.
Yeah.
I have not reached out to her again. I will. But she definitely is an asset to us on the AB, and she definitely fits in great. So I will reach out to her on my behalf and see what she would like to do moving forward. But hopefully the council will rethink that and maybe get her back on there.
But even if you reach out, Mario, and you know, and I think that, I mean, that's okay. But you know, but ultimately, remember, it's a council person.
Correct.
That has to assign a point or two. So whoever has that opening.
But I do believe that if she wanted to, that I believe her appointee would be willing to do it. So
okay. I mean, that's up to between them, though.
Something between them, but at the end it'd be up to Jackie. So.
But I would love for it to be resolved soon. Remember, summer's coming up. I know in the summer we all make plans, and sometimes some of us are out and whatever, you know. And I want to make sure that we always have quorum. You know, that seventh person is there.
Understood. Other than that, any other announcements?
I wanted to say that we commenced the meeting at around 7:35 to reflect on the record. We didn't mention it before.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
What a secretary, yeah?
Any other announcements? I did want to announce, I did believe that the Barbara Goldman softball team and the track team won districts this year, so that's a good thing. So congratulations. But other than that, I see that the traffic for school is picking up as well. I guess some kids are heading back, so that's another plus. I'm glad to see the kids are going back to brick and mortar. I think that's.
There's no more online next year, so.
I'm glad things are going slowly back to normal for them. Other than that, any other announcements? No? Then I adjourn this meeting at 8:09.
Good with that.
Well, that was quick.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nice have it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's a draft, you know, we're all in a rush to get to that draft.
Elizabeth,
Yes, I'm here.
I saw you at Trigo today. I was the one that said hi to Brandon.
Yes, I
You guys
know.
were sitting down?
Hi, I recognize you.
I just met
it's-
her today. I was like, oh my gosh, that's her.
We actually met during the 20th anniversary
Oh,
unveiling.
we did. Yes, yes,
and I
yes,
was looking
yes,
at you. I'm like, I
remember. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. But then I'm just like, oh, hi, Jessica again. But no,
Yes,
I
with the
remember
mask
you.
and everything.
yes.
You always, sometimes just by the eye, sometimes you don't
I was
recognize
looking at you and
people.
I'm just like, oh my goodness, I know her from somewhere.
Yes.
No, but it's so nice seeing you. Yeah.
You.
Yes,
All right,
I'm
guys.
standing in for Claire
Yeah.
tonight. But
Hector, go Dolphins.
All the way, brother, all the way. Let's go. Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right,
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye.